Part 8. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 71. The merit outside Yingzhou Island quickly attracted everyone's attention. This brilliance was first starry, and then turned into a brilliant light. Yingzhou Island is just an overseas immortal mountain treasure island, but that kind of weather almost surpasses when Emperor Jun set up his own heavenly court and became the Emperor of Heaven. Those who are envious and jealous of Yingzhou Island are all confused. This is great merit. The immortals couldn't figure out why such great merit was generated. Isn't it just to open a house? The Honghuang Immortal Cave Mansion opened, although it will also feast the immortals of the world. But even if it's a ginseng fruit feast as strong as Zhenyuanzi, it is still the moral banquet of Sanking. Or the fairy feast of the Prince of the East and the Queen Mother of the West. 10,000 immortals gather, they may not have this effect. Yingzhou Island in the East China Sea has once again become the focus of attention of the immortals. At this time, inside Yingzhou Island, those immortals, who were either sincere or just came to take advantage of the opportunity, had burst into tears. When Lu Gui used the creation of the jade butterfly, they can't understand a little more of the law. At this time, the smarter immortal suddenly remembered the spiritual spring water offered by the fairies just now, and suddenly realized. Enlightenment tea, spiritual spring water. Make tea, make tea. Knowing the role of this spiritual spring water and enlightenment tea, everyone hurriedly opened the small gift given by Lu Gui, a trace of enlightenment tea, and a pot of spiritual spring water. The immortals didn't care about the hot water, and poured the hot tea directly into their mouths. Lu Gui used the creation of jade butterflies and the avenue of evolution, although his jade butterflies are not as complete as Hongzhun. But hundreds of avenues are also enough to benefit the immortals a lot. Before you know it, another 1,000 years have passed. When the brilliance of the speech dissipated, Lu Gui put away the jade butterfly of creation. Everyone's eyes reluctantly opened. Lu Gui coughed, "Everyone, thank you for your support." In addition to Tongtian, Nuowu clan and other high-level Taoists, the 1,000 immortals were convinced, and their faces were solemn. "Thank you for the monkey preaching, we will never forget. In the future, if the monkey is in need, please let me know, we will go to the soup and fight the fire, and I dare not refuse." These 1,000 immortals are neat and uniform, with solemn expressions. Only the people of Tongtiandao and Nuwa look solemn. This is the grace of preaching. After the monkey performed the Tao ancestor Hongzhun, he snatched 1,000 immortals from under the Suanmen. Lu Gui bowed to the immortals, non-committal. Among these immortals, there may be sincere ones, and some of them are actually here to take advantage of them. Whether it's sincere or not, why should he care? He waved his hand, "Thank you, see you again." Those immortals, some of them were still crying and begging for apprenticeship, but just looking at the coercion on Lu Gui's body, they didn't dare to say what was in their hearts. They left Yingzhou Island in an orderly manner. When I got to the edge of the island, I happened to see the candle dragon with an excited face. "Lao Tzu, this slave deserves it, and he is more comfortable than before in the dragon clan." After he finished speaking, he found that the immortals were looking at them, glaring. "What are you doing in a daze? Do you want to stay and eat?" The immortals shrunk their necks and hurriedly went out from the great array of the 4 seas. As soon as they came out, those powers who paid attention to Yingzhou looked at these immortals, and their pupils contracted violently. What, 1,000 years of preaching? Creation jade butterfly. The master of Yingzhou Island uses the jade butterfly of creation to perform the Tao, and he also deserves the enlightenment deity. The immortals who didn't catch up with Yingzhou Island were so angry that they beat their chests. This kind of opportunity, they may never encounter in their lives. Finally, there was an opportunity, but it was missed for an inexplicable reason. Of course, those immortals who came out of Yingzhou Island were unconsciously ostracized. At this time, Yingzhou Island, Tongtian Daoren, Sticks' ancestor, Zhen Yuanzi, and others are also preparing to leave. The three of them were anxious to go back and digest the comprehension of these 2,000 years, especially the Dao people who had passed through the heavens, who had vaguely understood their Dao hearts. If you can practice in retreat, you will definitely be promoted to the pinnacle of quasi-sainthood. Fellow Daoist, thank you. Sticks' ancestor, after Zhen Yuanzi hugged his fists, he turned around and left. The Tongtian Daoist hesitated. At this time, Lu Gui smiled, do you already think that your senior brother Yuan Shi is difficult to get along with? Tongtian Daoist was shocked, and Lu Gui comforted him. It's okay, it'll be harder later. When you are sanctified, you will understand. The people of Tongtian wanted to ask a few more words, but Lu Gui kept his mouth shut. He bowed and turned to leave. Monkey, can my sister and I stay here for a few days? Ancestor Wu Xianming took 11 and Chang 11's hands and asked Lu Gui, and Lu Gui nodded. You can stay as long as you want. Really? Xianming's eyes lit up, and he pulled the two moon goddesses and left. You said, what good wine is there on Yingzhou Island? As soon as it was said that it was good wine, the other people of the 12 ancestors and witches also had their eyes shining. Brothers, over the years, I have used 5 needles of pine cones to refine some spirit wine. If you want to try it, just stay. Okay, brother Lu Gui. Dezhang and the others laughed. Just wait for the landing to return to the sentence. You go first, I'll be there later. Lu Gui glanced at the Nuwa girl who had been waiting on the side and didn't leave, and said to the others. The ancestral witches ran away in one go, and only the Queen Mother of the West and Hutu were left on the scene. Hutu covered his mouth and smiled, is it convenient? Lu Gui smiled and turned to Nuwa. What do you have, just say. Nuwa gritted her teeth, her eyes fell on Hutu, the Queen Mother of the West and others, with a look of despair. This guy is surrounded by top fairies and ancestral witches in the wilderness. How do you make a matchmaker for this guy? She took a deep breath. Six-eared Daoist, have you ever thought about finding a Daoist? Lu Gui shook his head, no. When Nuwa heard this, her spirits perked up, and she said, Dao is a great power in the wilderness, and he is not a member of the Suanmen, how can he have no wife? If Dao falls in love with that fairy, I can be a matchmaker for Dao. After Nuwa said this, the air in the hall instantly became a little colder. The Queen Mother of the West, Hutu, smiling Yan Yan, gently holding a cup of tea. But the murderous spirit fell on Nuwa. This slut actually dares to come to Yingzhou Island to talk about the matchmaker. I don't know who the owner of the island is, who is the meat in the pot. Lu Gui looked at the scene of the 3 women, and he was a little funny. She Shiren said, Daoist friend misunderstood. I just don't want to find a Taoist couple. Burst. Queen Mother of the West, Hutu's sister, Nuwa almost squirted out the tea in her mouth. Hutu girl coughed desperately, and glared at Lu Gui with a blushing face. Seeing Lu Gui's face as a matter of course. The second girl's heart was beating faster, and she didn't squeak for a while, but she listened with her ears pricked up. Nuwa was almost choked to death by the 6-eared shameless. This guy is rightfully gone, too hateful. She took a deep breath, Dao friendly. It's so special. Lu Gui smiled, we monkeys, all of them are owned by the Monkey King, this is the custom of our hometown. Shameless. Nuwa scolded secretly in her heart, and she still had to laugh on the surface. She smiled Yan Yan, Dao are romantic, Nuwa admires, but who kind of goddess does Dao fancy? I was in Fenbayan that day, I got a marriage book, and I was in charge of the marriage in the world. If the Taoist friend fancied which girl, I could match the Taoist friend. The so-called name is not right, even if the Taoist friend and that girl are in love, after all, they still need to be polite. For example, if a Taoist friend is interested in any Taoist friend in the main hall, I can also say that the matchmaker. When Hutu and the Queen Mother of the West heard Nuwa's words, their hearts beat wildly. The girl couldn't bear it, so she took the initiative to stand up. I'm going to try the wine that my brothers said. The Queen Mother of the West stood up. Hutu de Iu, I'll take you there, you don't know the way. The second daughter fled in the wilderness, and a trace of pride flashed in Nuwa's eyes. Can't cure you any more? Lugui waited for Nuwa to smile. Nuwa de Iu, what kind of trick are you playing as a matchmaker? Nuwa's expression froze, and she looked at Lugui. Lugui seemed to be smiling. Nuwa was discouraged. She knew that she couldn't hide this monkey, so she could only say, fellow Taoist, you also know that the master gave me a red hydrangea, and I am in charge of the 3 marriages of heaven and earth. If I complete it, I will have a great opportunity. So, Lugui, heavenly marriage, it is the wedding of the Emperor of Heaven. What are you looking for me? Nuwa had an expression of wanting to cry without tears. 6-eared Taoist, have you forgotten that you were the first person to enter the heavenly court and take the merits of the heavenly emperor? In terms of heavenly status, you are the Emperor of Heaven. When Lugui heard this, he suddenly realized that he really didn't know about it. The celestial emperor person, whoever wants this thing wants to go. He knows that the lich is dangerous, and it is impossible for him to pick up this hot potato. Lugui seemed to be smiling. He said, so, you're going to arrange a blind date for me. When Nuwa heard this, her face turned red. Fellow Taoist, that's not what you said. You have a lot of confidence, you always have to look for a fellow Taoist. Girls have thin faces, you can't be a masturbation man. It's a matter of mutual benefit. Nuwa is still trying to persuade Lugui to let her complete the matter of heavenly marriage. Lugui couldn't cry or laugh. This guy came over, he didn't ask for the gourd vine to rest for 9 days, but remembered that he would not let go of the heavenly marriage. He didn't know that Nuwa was trying to help him complete the marriage first, climb the relationship, and then talk about how to put the gourd vine and the 9 heavens together, which is called step by step. How about it, fellow Taoist, why don't I help you connect everyone? Nuwa is eager to try. Lugui she ran. Nuwa de Iu, you seem to have forgotten something. Nuwa was puzzled and stared at Lugui, who smiled. That day in the heavenly court, I got the first merit of the Emperor of Heaven, and you also got the first merit of the Queen of Heaven. If you want to get married, you have to get married. AHH. Nuwa's eyes widened, dumbfounded. How did she forget about it? Lugui looked at her and smiled, otherwise, we make do with it. I will sacrifice a little to complete the heavenly marriage for the Taoist friend, and I will not hesitate to do it. No. Lugui's righteous words scared Nuwa to a loss. How is it possible to marry a monkey? He didn't even think about it. Nuwa was completely panicked. Lugui smiled. Fellow Taoist, I will take the gourd vine and the 9 heavens rest soil as a dowry, and you don't want to. When Nuwa heard this, it was like lightning striking her mind, and she crashed directly. She was shy and called afraid. How do you know? Nuwa was horrified that Lugui had guessed her true purpose. Lugui smiled mysteriously. I know what's going on in the world. Your opportunity to preach is above the innate gourd vine and the 9 heavens resting soil. Nuwa was splashed with cold water, and instantly calmed down. The Lugui in front of her became more and more mysterious in her eyes. Her little idea of taking advantage of her was immediately cleaned up by Lugui. Nuwa stood up and saluted respectfully to Lugui. Let the Taoist friends smile. The Taoist friends pinched Nuwa's chance. Nuwa was powerless to resist. If you have any requests, just put them forward. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 72. Nuwa has no way to deal with monkeys. Her plan to take advantage of the information gap to exchange the nine heavens rests oil and gourd vine from the monkey was directly in vain. Nuwa recognized her idea of not wanting to take advantage of the monkey, and directly talked about the conditions. Lugui smiled. Fellow Taoist, I think you're very good. Fellow Taoist, self-respect. A hint of blush appeared on Nuwa's face, and she glared at Lugui. Lugui didn't tease her, but said. You said that the red hydrangea palm heaven and earth people are married 3 times, so do you understand what is a land marriage and what is a human marriage? This sentence made Nuwa speechless. Lugaideo, if you want to complete the 3rd marriage, you can only rely on me, and no one else can help you. He didn't know about the 3 marriages of heaven, earth, and man before, only about the heavenly marriage, but Nuwa told the secret of the red hydrangea, and Lugui vaguely guessed. The 3rd marriage of heaven, earth, and man is probably not so simple. What it represents behind it is probably the 3 realms of heaven, earth, and man. The 3 marriages that integrate the 3 ways of heaven, earth, and man. If the red hydrangea is promoted, it must be a great innate treasure. However, Lugui knew that Nuwa could not succeed. If it is said that the marriage of heaven must be the destiny of the emperor, the person who corresponds to the marriage must be an important person in the tunnel. And when people get married, Lugui thinks of the 3 emperors and 5 emperors, but he feels that it is wrong. All in all, if Nuwa wants to be promoted to red hydrangea, according to the original trajectory of fate, she will definitely not be able to. Because of the desolate tunnel, there will be no awakening at all. Daezu Hongjun counts the 2 authentic candidate saints of Yuanzi and Hutu, but isn't it just to suppress the tunnel? The candidate for land marriage can only fall on these 2 people. It is impossible for Zhen Yuanzi to get married, and the only candidate for marriage in that place is Hutu girl. This is his. As for human marriage, if before, Lugui would guess that human marriage would fall on the first human ancestor of the human race, or one of the 3 emperors. However, after Lugui beheaded Kongtongyan's corpse, has taken the first trace of luck of the human race. The object of a person's marriage may also be Kongtongyan, that is, himself. Therefore, if Nuwa girl wants to play red hydrangea, she can't get around him. The 3rd marriage of heaven, earth, and man, there is the calculation of the old ghost of Hongjun behind it. Your master has set your future path from the beginning. You can't have an innate treasure. There's no other way but to work with me. Nuwa wanted to refute Lugui, but was ultimately speechless. The 6-eared macaque, who knows the affairs of the world, this sentence is not something that Lugui himself said casually. His supernatural powers, his abilities, have been verified many times in the flood wilderness. Although Nuwa is disgusted with Lugui, she will not refute this sentence. I know you don't believe it, your master's calculations are far-reaching, and it's not comparable to you, a stupid girl. I hope you will be smarter after you become holy. Now that the calamity is coming, you'd better keep your distance from the heavenly court demon clan. When the first tribulation war breaks out, you'll understand. Lugui is not light or serious, and reveals some information to Nuwa. Anyway, this information has already been exposed. When Nuwa heard this, she was terrified. Dayu, do you know something? The matter of measuring the calamity. It is no secret in the flood famine, and Hongjun also said that the amount of robbery cannot be lost, and the saint does not come out. Could it be that at this time, there is already a heaven and earth calamity? Lugui did not answer Nuwa's question directly, but kept a smile like a god. Regarding the secret of the heaven and earth tribulation, whether it was the Wu clan or the demon clan, he chose not to break the news. It's simple, don't believe it? This level of revelation, no matter how good the relationship between the Wu clan is and how convincing you are, I am afraid that you will be skeptical. It's better to wait until the first Lich War. Dai once said, I don't care about the demon clan, but you don't know, the person who is really ruthless to the demon clan has not yet appeared. You don't believe it, you don't believe it, look at it. Lu Gui directly changed the topic. Regarding your opportunity to preach, it is to create people for the flood famine. There are three ways of heaven, earth, and man, and the human race is the way of the day after the famine. Your opportunity for preaching is to create man. When Nuwa heard this, she suddenly realized that since she got the guidance of the old man in white on Buzhu Mountain, she had already realized her Dao heart. But now that Lu Gui has spoken out again, she is even more sure that this is her avenue. Create people for the flood and create great creations and great merits. It is the way of her Nuwa. It takes 9 days to make a man. Gourd vines, these are the treasures of the gourd I planted on Buzhu Mountain. Nuwa was speechless when she told Lu Gui that the gourd vine was planted by him. But she didn't pay much attention to it, and she said, "What do I need to get this treasure?" Lu Gui smiled, "I didn't say to give you the baby, you create people, I want to participate. I will divide 50% of the merits of making people." Nuwa stood up suddenly, "Fellow Taoist, this is impossible, you have divided the 5 successful virtues, how can I achieve sanctification? No matter how many merits there are in creating a human being, it is impossible to be so numerous that you can preach with only 5 successful virtues." Nuwa directly denied the idea of Lu Gui. "Lu Guideo, since I want 5 successful virtues, I will definitely guarantee that you will preach. If you agree, you have to agree, if you don't agree, you go find another human treasure. You." Nuwa was so angry with Lu Gui that her chest rose and fell, she snorted and panted, glaring at Lu Gui. "Or, Dao and I will become a family." Lu Gui laughed. Nuwa gritted her teeth, "Okay, I promise you, 5 successful virtues. Okay, when you're ready to make a man, I'll have 2 friends go to meet you. They'll help you make a man." Lu Gui and Nuwa quickly reached the conditions, and Nuwa testified that the opportunity was in hand, and she didn't want to stay in front of this hateful monkey for a moment, so she turned around and wanted to leave. Fellow Taoist, although you don't need to be promoted to a sub-saint for meritorious enlightenment, you'd better digest what you've gained before preaching. Lu Gui reminded her. Nuwa paused, nodded immediately, and flew away from Yingzhou Island. Seeing Nuwa leave, she turned around explicitly and went to the gathering place of the 12 ancestors. I saw that the 12 ancestral witches were already almost drunk. Seeing Lu Gui coming, he laughed. "Brother Six-Eared, you're too late, punish yourself with 3 cups. Good." Lu Gui was not polite, rushed in directly, and fought with the 12 ancestors for 300 rounds. After a while, the 12 ancestors and witches, except for the Hutu girls, all lay down. Picking up Xianming, who muttered that he wanted to have a monkey with him, Lu Gui and Hutu looked at each other and smiled. "Brother Lu Dao, when do you think the war between the Wu clan and the demon clan will come?" Hutu girl asked, and Lu Gui smiled. "When the dragon clan is subdued by Heavenly Court, it will be the time for Heavenly Court to make a move." Outside Yingzhou Island, with the opening of Lu'er Mansion, the flood was turned upside down. One of the influences is that the people of Tongtian Dao, when they return to Kunlun Mountain, they are greeted by the irony of the beginning. "What, junior brother, you have gained a lot in Yingzhou." Tongtian Daoist Zozo frowned. "This Yuan Shi senior brother's words are very ugly. Senior brother, I went to Yingzhou Island just to repay the favor." Yuan Shi Daoist smiled. "Senior brother said that it was funny, the 3 of us are the authentic sect of Suanmen, on behalf of the master, your behavior is simply a shame for Suanmen." Tongtian Daoist was furious when he heard this. "Senior brother, what you said is true, I just saw that he instructed the 3 of us to get the 24 grade creation Blue Lotus, and also paid a cause and effect. Shizun did say that the Fa does not teach the 6 ears, and I also did not preach to the 6 ears, what do you mean by yin and yang?" Six-eared Taoist friends don't need to preach from the master, he has long been a sub-saint, and he is only a line away from that saint. What's more, he still has the remnants of the creation jade butterfly in his hand. What? Lao Tzu and Yuan Shi Daoren stood up suddenly, their eyes widened. Creation of jade butterflies, this is the third time when the master is preaching, he uses the treasure of the great Tao to comprehend the avenue. The power of the jade butterfly to create, the 3,000 guests of red dust, is the clearest. This kind of enlightenment treasure, not to mention the saints, is also the saints themselves, and they are very much needed. That monkey actually has such a treasure, and when the Yuan Shi Dao people heard it, they were so angry that they smoked. Among the three Qings, he has the most difficult relationship with Lu'er. Whether it was making a fool of himself in front of Xixiao Palace, or the Gourdvine incident on Buzhu Mountain, or the beating on the East China Sea that seriously injured him. The 6 ears are definitely the biggest scourge in Yuan Shi's heart. Does he have a jade butterfly? The creation jade butterfly in the hands of Honghuang Dao people is incomplete, and Sanking knows it. But how can the 6-eared Hida actually have a jade butterfly of creation? No, this guy doesn't deserve it, we have to find a way to. Maybe this is the opportunity for you and me to become holy. Senior brother. Tongtian looked at Yuan Shi, ready to pay attention to Lu Gui, and couldn't help but say. Yuan Shi looked at him coldly. Tongtian, did you go to Yingzhou Island and even forget our three Qing feelings? Tongtian Dao popularity not, there is nothing to say. He snorted coldly and turned to leave. Is it the other way around? Yuan Shi was indignant, turned around and asked Lao Tzu. Senior brother, what do you think of this junior brother? Lao Tzu sighed, Senior brother Yuan Shi, we have the same source of the three Qings, and you don't have to criticize Tongtian. As for the jade butterfly, it is indeed my Suanman thing. I'm sorry to deal with Lu'er, let's not mention this first, we have to report this matter to Shizun. Yuan Shi Dao people thought about it and it made sense, he and Lao Tzu turned around and flew to Xixiao Palace. And at this time, Nuo returned to the Buzaoshan dojo and saw that Fuxi was already waiting for her in the dojo. Sister, why did you run to Yingzhou Island, Your Majesty Emperor Jun, you are furious about this. When Nuo heard Fu 11 mention Dijun, a trace of disdain flashed in her eyes. Big brother, go to Yingzhou Island, my sister has her own reasons, you don't have to worry about it. As for Dijun, he can't control my head yet. Nuo turned around and persuaded Fu 11. Big brother, don't stay in heavenly court, I'm afraid you're in danger. A look of fanaticism appeared on Fu 11's face. Sister, you have misunderstood His Majesty Emperor Jun, and let me tell you, His Majesty Emperor Jun has been studying a big array all these years. If he succeeds, he will definitely shine in the flood wilderness. The situation where my demon clan was suppressed by the witch clan will no longer exist. Nuo looked at Fu 11's fanatical expression and sighed. The brother and sister are not in harmony with each other on this issue. She said, Big brother, I want to retreat and explore the great Dao of enlightenment, and after 30,000 years, we will talk again. After speaking, Nuo entered the cave and began to retreat. At this time, in the depths of the heavenly court, there was the sound of Dijun laughing. Big brother, what are you so happy about? Tai's attitude towards Dijun was puzzled. Brother, my Zhoutian Star Do Great Array has finally been completed. A look of excitement flashed in Dijun's eyes. As long as my demon clan cultivates the Zhoutian Star Do Great Array and completes the 360 Great Zhoutian Star Banners and the 14,800 Little Zhoutian Star Banners, then the Wu clan will not be a problem. Tai was overjoyed when he heard this. Congratulations, eldest brother, you will be able to truly reign in the flood soon. The joy on Dijun's face couldn't stand it. He immediately frowned, but to refine these treasures, you need a lot of resources. Tai smiled, Big brother, my demon clan commands the world, resources are not a problem. Besides, we don't have it, don't the dragons have it? Tai and Daijun looked at the immeasurable world with ill intentions. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, detective with 6 ears. Chapter 73. Time passes, and I don't know how many years have passed. Abbot Immortal Island, the secret realm of chaos. Lu Gui, the heavenly deists, and the Kongtong deists sat with each other. He observed the state of the heavenly deist and the Kongtong deist, and he was quite relieved. After so many years of cultivation, the heavenly Dao people finally reached the quasi-saint peak realm, and then entered the sub-saint realm very smoothly. The sub-saint realm was originally the product of the quasi-saint peak polishing the Dao heart. After Lu Gui contributed to the comprehension of the Dao heart, the heavenly Dao people did not have the slightest obstacle to entering the Yasheng. The 36 worlds behind him. Each world swallows a massive amount of chaotic vitality and directly advances. It's not in vain that I've been piling up resources for you for so many years, but the law origin is not enough. If there are 36 different law origins, it must be terrifying to believe in the strength of Dao. Heavenly Dao people, respectfully salute the return of the land. Thank you. Lu Gui smiled, you and I have the same ability, no need to thank you. He glanced at the Kongtong deist again, as the incarnation of the Kongtong seal. Although the Kongtong deist had deep heels at this time, he was blessed by the luck of the human race. For the time being, it is not as good as the heavenly Dao people. However, the Kongtong Dao people have been piled up by Lu Gui over the years, and all kinds of heaven and earth spiritual roots are enough, and they have also been piled up to the late stage of the quasi-sainthood. It can be said that Lu Gui's strength today is immeasurably strong. He alone, plus 1 gasification and 3 clears, can almost fight against the entire Suanman sect. But Lu Gui was not satisfied, the age of the saint was coming soon. The opportunity for his ontological preaching has not yet been founded. If Lu Gui wants to preach the Dao mixed Yuan de Luo Jin immortal, he must have the right conditions. Chaos Yuan de Luo Jin immortal is the method of enlightenment of the chaos demon god, and if he does not send heaven to heaven, he cannot use the power of heaven and earth like a saint. But it's better than freedom. The method of preaching and mixing the Yuan de Luo Jinxian is to preach the Tao with strength. Of course, demon ancestor Rahu's method of preaching by killing is also a kind of partial method of preaching and mixing the elements. There are 2 ways to preach the Tao with strength. One is to directly split the chaos like Pangu, and fuse the 3000 avenues into the avenue of strength, which is the strongest and most orthodox method. However, this method has a high requirement. If you want to cut chaos, you have to have chaos to cut it. Another way to prove the Tao with strength is to use one's own great mana to directly deduce the ontological rules to the limit. The law has reached the limit, and the law of heaven is broken with great mana. Directly merge the law into the origin of the avenue, and extract a trace of power from the origin of the avenue. In short, it is to exchange the laws of the heavenly Dao level into a trace of the laws of the great Dao level. Can become a mixed Yuan de Luo Jin immortal. Of course, this kind of redemption does not mean that the other party has become a great Dao saint. Unless the mixed Yuan de Luo golden immortal can continue, slowly transform the law into a complete great Dao law, and survive the great Dao tribulation. If I can't find the chaos bead for a long time, I will enter the long river of time, refine the Dao of time, and realize the Dao mixed Yuan. However, after a long time, it may not be calm. At least when I have enough self-protection ability, I should be cautious. After Lu Gui was guided by the main road, he also thought about entering the long river of time immediately. Use the law of time to comprehend the avenue. But it's best to be cautious. He turned to the heavenly deists, and if he became sanctified, then he would have the ability to protect himself. At this time, there was a heavenly court and heavenly soldier in the southeast, northwest, and four seas, and they went straight to the dragon palace. Heavenly Emperor order, the dragon king of the four seas, supply 180,000 catties of cold iron to the bottom of the sea. Tribute to Sin Chen iron, 3 or 600,000 catties. Within 10 days, send it to heaven. The dragon king of the four seas, when he heard this news, exploded. My dragon clan does not belong to the demon clan, so I don't have to listen to your demon court's orders. Go back to heaven. The envoy of the demon clan was driven out of the dragon palace by the dragon king of the four seas, which was not expected by Emperor Jun and Tai. It didn't take long for the army of the demon clan, under the leadership of the Eastern Emperor Tai, to start fighting against the dragon clan. Dragon king of the West Sea, extinguish. The dragons were sacked. The dragon king of the North Sea, the Kunpeng annihilation, the treasure of the dragon palace, were all transferred to the heavenly court. The dragon king of the South China Sea was chained by Tai and pulled to heaven to apologize. For a time, the flood shook. Heavenly court washed the dragon clan with blood to prove its legitimacy. Dragons are also demons. Dijun defined the attributes of the dragon clan and included the dragon clan in the demon clan. Those real dragons, dare to be angry but dare not speak. At this time, the details of the encounter of the Three Seas Dragon Palace, only the East China Sea remained, which attracted everyone's attention. The East China Sea was the only place where heavenly court did not move when it was killing all directions. The immortals all understand the truth. That is, I am afraid of the candle dragon who once appeared and was a slave on Yingzhou Island. Ancestor, save our dragon clan. Outside Yingzhou Island, the dragon king of the East China Sea took his dragon son and grandson and begged bitterly outside Yingzhou. Dragons, the end has come. The candle dragon also knelt in front of the Chaos Palace, trembling all over. I told you that the dragons will be doomed. As the only race in the last generation that can move relatively freely, I don't know how to keep a low profile, I don't know what to say, Heavenly Dao must teach a lesson. You've lost. Lu Gui was in the Chaos Palace and said indifferently. At the right time, in the form of bets, he broke the news to Candle Dragon and Aoluan, and gained a lot of benefits. Aoluan also knelt and begged Lu Gui to protect the East China Sea Dragon clan. But Lu Gui was unmoved, he was not a good person. Why shelter a bunch of waste? In his opinion, the reason why the Dragon clan suffered a catastrophe was, to put it bluntly, incapable and high profile. Guarding the wealth inherited from the last calamity, wearing a sinful body, I don't know what to say. If there is still 1% of the strength of the ancient Dragon clan, it will not be coveted. But on the contrary, after the Dragon and Han tribulation, the luck of the Dragon clan has been lost. The true Dragon clan, there are not many decent Delugojin immortals, let alone quasi-saints. Candle Dragon also knew that what Lu Gui said was very reasonable. He was also angry at this group of unscrupulous descendants, but after all, they were their own descendants. Lu Gui smiled. The general trend is that you can't save the Dragon clan, but I'll give you a thought, and make another bet. You go out and stop the heavenly court, but the sky is high and the earth is wide, and you will be free. If you lose. Candle Dragon said, if I lose, I will always be the dragon slave of Yingzhou Island. Okay, let's go. Lu Gui knew that the Candle Dragon himself was not dead, thinking that except for him, the others in the flood wilderness were not his opponents. But he didn't know that the flood was no longer the flood of the past. Dragons, luck has been lost. It's destined to be difficult. The Candle Dragon got Lu Gui's approval, and he was overjoyed, and Lu Gui took back the lock dragon buckle casually. He raised his head to the sky and roared, and his voice shook the sky. You go. Lu Gui asked Aoluan to follow the Candle Dragon. Aoluan has been on Yingzhou Island all these years, and he has cultivated to the middle stage of the great Luo Golden Immortal, and his talent is very terrifying. Lu Gui has had the urge to accept her as a disciple several times, but still gave up on this idea. Disciple, the noble essence is not much expensive, and the loyalty of Aoluan, the dragon girl, still needs to be tested. Got Lu Gui's approval, Aoluan was overjoyed. Although she doesn't look down on the dragon clan today, she is a member of the dragon clan after all. The two divine dragons flew out of Yingzhou Island, and just saw that Kunpeng led the heavenly court demon soldiers to attack directly. The candle dragon roared, shaking the East China Sea. Yasheng's strength is undoubtedly performing. Heavenly court, if you insult my dragon clan, I will kill Heavenly court, and take Daijun and Tai bird's head as a night pot. When Kunpeng heard this, he was furious. Candle dragon, if today, it is not the time for the dragon Han to measure the tribulation, you insult the Emperor of Heaven, you should be killed. The two fought together. The candle dragon has magical powers, unmatched. The Kunpeng is unparalleled in speed, and there are 7 divine feathers on his body that turn into a fan, rolling up the endless storm. 100 years of the war between the two. The world shook after killing the desolation, and in the end, the candle dragon was stronger, beating Kunpeng to vomit blood and flee in the wilderness. It's just that at this time, Tai stepped into the air. The candle dragon took advantage of the morale and directly faced Tai. Donghuang Tai smiled, Candle dragon, if it was tens of thousands of years ago, I would still be afraid of you. Now, he. The chaos clock in his hand flew out, and in an instant, he froze the ground, water, fire, and wind. The breath of the chaos bell destroys the world and explodes. The East China Sea Dragon clan, which was still on the sea, exploded in an instant. Blood, permeating the entire East China Sea. The candle dragon's eyes cracked, and he roared in tears. Donghuang Tai smiled, Yasheng, who is not? Tai burst out, and all his qi, the blazing true fire of the sun, turned into a small sun and hung in the wilderness. Yasheng, after so many years of retreat, Donghuang Tai has also been promoted to the realm of Yasheng. The Emperor's Avenue. Lu Gui in the Chaos Palace, feeling the breath of this Tai shaking heaven and earth, muttered to himself. Eastern Emperor Tai, it is the Emperor's Avenue that cultivates. He used the blood of the Three Seas Dragon clan to kill his Dao heart perfection. Tai, who has the Chaos Clock, breaks out a big battle with the Candle Dragon again. However, the Candle Dragon at this time, as Lu Gui guessed, was not the opponent of the Eastern Emperor Tai at all. Yasheng Tai, holding the Chaos Bell, is the first god of war in the wilderness. His reputation as the first person under the flood saint was not given for nothing. When Tai and the Candle Dragon fought, the demon god of the demon clan is also entering the palace East China Sea Dragon Palace. The Dragon King of the East China Sea has long been paralyzed on the ground in fright. It was Aoluan who took the bloody true dragon of the Dragon clan and blocked the attack of the demon clan. However, after this battle, the Dragon clan really suffered heavy casualties. This amount of calamity hasn't even gotten up, and it's been killed like this. How hard will the lich fight be in the tribulation? For 1,000 years, Lu Gui indifferently watched the Dragon clan fight for 1,000 years. The war between Candle Dragon and Tai has finally come to an end. Yuanhong! Lu Gui shouted, and the gibbon monkey Yuanhong walked over. You take my token, go to the East China Sea, let Tai get out. If the Candle Dragon is defeated, then he is the property of the seed. It's up to the owner to beat the dog. Yuanhong saluted in a low voice and took Lu Gui's wishful golden hoop stick. Master, what if Tai doesn't want to get out? He doesn't want to be decent, I'll help him be decent. Lu Gui said a word, and Yuanhong took the Ruyi golden hoop stick and turned around and walked out of Yingzhou Island. Above the East China Sea. The war between the Dragon Clan and the Demon Clan has long attracted the attention of everyone in the Flood Wilderness, including the Witch Clan. After more than 1,000 years of war, Candle Dragon lost after all, and was beaten by Tai to vomit blood and fall to the ground. Candle Dragon, in the future, you are just pulling for my eldest brother's chariot. The real dragon pulls, and it shows my heavenly momentum. Tai was in the air in the East China Sea, laughing. He swept his mind and found that on the side of the Dragon Palace, the Dragon Clan was almost unable to stop it. Tai was in high spirits, and suddenly, on the sea in the distance, an old ape appeared in front of Tai. Candle Dragon, it is my master's private property, and the master entrusted me to bring a message to His Majesty Tai. Leave. When Tai heard this, he was furious. Who are you, who dare to order me like this? Yuanhong was expressionless, and took out the Ruyi golden hoop stick. Yingzhou Island, Yuanhong. Yingzhou Island. Did you meddle after all? Tai's pupils shrank, and he saw the Ruyi golden hoop stick, and he had already determined the identity of the person who came. What has been feared over the years is Yingzhou Island's intervention. Now, it's come true. Lure, he is not worthy to command this king. Tai was furious, although he was afraid of Lu Gui, but he was not afraid to death. Yuanhong listened and said. The island owner said that if His Majesty Tai doesn't want to be decent, then he will help you be decent. When Tai heard this, he instantly felt terrified. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 74. The moment Yuanhong said this, Yingzhou Island was full of clouds. Those clouds turned into sword shadows in the sky, hovering on Yingzhou Island. Tai felt the attitude of the owner of Yingzhou Island. If he didn't roll, the sword light would immediately travel thousands of miles and fall on him. That sword light, Tai saw it once tens of thousands of years ago. Lu Gui slashed 1,000,000 heavenly soldiers with a sword. In Tai's heart, there is still that terrifying memory, and now tens of thousands of years have passed. The sword light of Lu Gui hovering on Yingzhou Island is even better than before. However, Donghuang Tai was not convinced. He is also a Yashen now. Why is he worse than the other party? The Tai East chaos bell was raised, and endless coercion erupted on the head. His actions gave Lu Gui an answer. Lu Gui, who was sitting in the chaos palace, understood Tai's attitude, and smiled. Hongmeng's sword Hun flew over Yingzhou Island from his side. Lu Gui said indifferently, cut chaos. Open the sky 3 styles, the first potential, cut chaos. Pangu's supernatural powers, blessed on the Hongmeng sword hurdle, the Hongmeng holy sword in the Hongmeng sword hurdle, burst out with a strong light. Billions of holy swords, with the law of Panguli, the law of chaos demon ape warfare and the law of Ruyi demon ape change. The Hongmeng sword that conjured up the immeasurable sword chi. Slash to the Tai thousands of miles away. Doomsday. Hutu girl, standing on the shore of the East China Sea, side by side with Xianming girl. Seeing the power of Lu Gui's blow, he said this sentence directly. Hongmeng sword whose move is almost the limit of the attack technique, even if the 12 ancestral witches transform into the true body of the ancestral witch, I am afraid that they will die on the spot. The horror of Lu Gui can be imagined. Tai, who was in the inner circle of attack, naturally understood this feeling better. The moment he made Lu Gui's move, he already regretted why he provoked Lu Gui. The monstrous sword momentum. Let him smell death. Tai hurriedly sacrificed the chaos bell, and the chaos bell turned into a bell shadow like a high mountain, enveloping a radius of thousands of miles. Tens of thousands of years ago, I could block your sword, and now I can. With Tai's roar, the chaotic sword chi of the Hongmeng sword blade fell. Tai was desperate to find that the chaos sword directly shattered the chaos bell's defenses and fell towards him. He ignored that tens of thousands of years ago, Lu Gui used to cut the sky, but now it is, the three forms of opening the sky. Impossible. Tai vomited blood, roared, and ran the chaos bell with all his might. After the chaos bell's defenses shattered, thousands of sword chi attacked. The blood of Tai's body shattered, and he instantly turned into a bloody man. Bird feathers flying. In an instant, he turned into a three-legged golden crow and hid in the chaos bell body. Rumble. Hundreds of millions of chaotic sword chi turned into a giant sword and smashed on top of the chaos bell. The Eastern Emperor Tai within the chaos bell was shocked and bled 7 holes. He finally seized an opportunity, turned into a three-legged golden crow, and fled directly from the East China Sea. As Lu Gui said, if he doesn't want to be decent, Lu Gui will naturally help him be decent. The Eastern Emperor ran one by one. The flood shook. Those immortals who were still watching the excitement were shocked. The coast of the East China Sea, Hutu and Xianming, there was a blurry divine light flashing in his eyes. This is the power of a wilderness, the momentum that it should really have. 6 ears, the first under the saint. In the distant Zixiao Palace, Hongjun opened his eyes and saw this battle. His shock was no less than that of other flood immortals. Pangu's crippled supernatural powers. In Hongjun's mind, he recalled the fear of Pangu ruling everything when the heavens were opened. The whole person is cold to the bone. When did these 6 ears become the number of heaven and earth? I knew that poor Dao would let him enter Zixiao Palace and become a disciple of Suanmen back then. Now, it's not easy to control. Hongjun remembered the report of Yuan Shi and Lao Tzu 10,000 years ago. In the hands of the 6 ears, there is also a mutilated creation jade butterfly. The chaos treasure of the jade butterfly is destined to be broken and shattered, which is not surprising. Chaos arcana, too perfect. There is a shortage of heavenly Dao, and this kind of treasure is not allowed to exist. Therefore, except for the chaos bead, the other chaos arcana treasures have all been split. The reason why chaos is an exception is because it is one of the escaped worlds. Flush with the way of heaven. Hongjun understands this truth, so he never planned to look for the fragments of the jade butterfly, but now the monkey has sent it to the door? A gleam flashed in his eyes. This monkey is an anomaly, be punished. Dao ancestor wanted to kill an outlier, so naturally it was impossible to do it himself. He set his eyes on Kunlun Mountain, fell on Yuan Shi, and fell into deep thought. And at this time, the East China Sea. Lu Gui/Tai, and the entire East China Sea fell into a brief state of dead silence. Those demon clans who didn't have time to run, after seeing Lu Gui's terrifying strength, began to flee in the wilderness. I'm afraid that I'm going to be late, and the owner of Yingzhou Island will solve them by the way. It's just that there is no movement on Yingzhou Island anymore. Lu Gui had no interest in these demon soldiers. Candle Dragon, Aoluan, and Yuanhong have not yet recovered from Lu Gui's earth-shattering sword. When they were relieved, the 3 of them were dripping in cold sweat. They knew that the island owner was powerful, but they never thought that the island owner was so powerful. The Candle Dragon collapsed to the ground, and Yuanhong said to him. The owner said, "You lost." The Candle Dragon wiped the cold sweat on his head and quickly nodded. "In the future, I will sell my life to the island owner." "Okay, you guys take care of the Dragon Clan and come back." His task was completed, and Yuanhong went back to Yingzhou Island. The Candle Dragon dragged the injured body to the East China Sea Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace, already stained red with blood. The Candle Dragon left a sentence, "It's good to do it yourself." Turned around and took Aoluan back to Yingzhou Island, went straight to the Chaos Palace, and knelt in front of Lu Gui. "In the future, you will be the people of Yingzhou Island." After Lu Gui said this, he looked in the direction of Buzhu Mountain. There, Nuwa Cave Mansion, the weather is thousands. Nuwa, who had been in retreat for many years, finally sorted out her own avenue, and with the help of Lu Gui's creation of the jade butterfly, she was promoted to Yasheng ahead of schedule. The moment she opened the cave, Lu Guijian heard her message. He turned back to the two figures behind him and said, "Two fellow Taoists, your opportunity has arrived." The heavenly Taoist and Kongtong Taoist nodded, bid farewell to Lu Gui, and went to Buzhu Mountain. The two went to Buzhu Mountain. At this time, Yuan Shidao and Lao Tzu were also flying to Buzhu Mountain. Yuan Shidao Ren still had a trace of gloom in his eyes, but he saw Nuo's strange appearance of entering Yasheng from a distance. Lao Tzu and Yuan Shidao Ren looked at each other and were very shocked. Among the 6 disciples of Honghuang, if you talk about good fortune, Nuo is the first. But in terms of strength, Nuo is the penultimate one. Even the 2 saints in the West are above Nuo in cultivation. This sister Nuo, when did she become a saint? You know, Lao Tzu and Yuan Shi are just the pinnacle of quasi-saints. To enter the sub-holy realm, it has nothing to do with the mana of the feet, it is nothing more than to find your own Dao heart. Senior sister Nuo has entered Yasheng, is she going to be sanctified? Yuan Shi and Lao Tzu came here for another purpose. Now seeing this scene, hurry up and fly in. Senior sister Nuo. I haven't seen you for many years, congratulations. Nuo was a little surprised when she saw Lao Tzu and Yuan Shi, 2 senior brothers, coming together, and she hurriedly saluted. I've seen 2 senior brothers. Congratulations to senior sister Nuo, I didn't expect that after many years of not seeing you, you actually became a saint. Lao Tzu looked at Nuo and sighed with emotion. Nuo smiled lightly, I went to Yingzhou Island a while ago and got some opportunities. Lao Tzu and Yuan Shi glanced at each other, and Yuan Shi asked, Senior sister Nuo, it is rumored that the 6-eared macaque has a jade butterfly in its hand, I don't know if it's true. Nuo nodded, it's true, on the day he opened the mansion, he performed for the guests, and it was the jade butterfly of creation that he used. Senior sister, the reason why I was able to enter the sub-saint realm so quickly is the same. Nuo is not a fool, and naturally she will not say that she got the path of enlightenment from Lu Gui's mouth, which is the real reason. But when Lao Tzu and Yuan Shi heard it, their whole people were sour. Creation of jade butterflies, evolution of 3,000 avenues. Even as Hongzhang's disciples, they had only experienced it once in Zixiao Palace. The monkey is full of treasures, and no one else is not envious and jealous. Yuan Shi snorted coldly. Senior sister, those 6 ears are the taboo people of the master, and they have the treasure of the master's creation, the jade butterfly, you are too close to him, I'm afraid it's inappropriate. When Nuo heard Yuan Shi's words, she was a little unhappy. She doesn't like Lu'er either, but it's about her avenue, and Yuan Shi's words are a bit too much. Nuo was indifferent, senior brother, Lu'er and I are of the same clan, and some cause and effect are involved, not what you think, senior brother. When Yuan Shi heard this, his eyes rolled. That's just right, senior sister, senior brother Lao Tzu and I came here just to tell you something. Those 6 ears are carrying the jade butterfly, which is the treasure left by the master. Let's find a way to get those creation jade butterflies back. When Nuo heard this, she was terrified. She said coldly, Senior brother Yuanji, do you want me to calculate the 6 ears? Nuo's expression instantly became detached. She and Lu'er are working together to create people, and this original ghost idea is clearly bad for her. Yuan Shi Daoist nodded, Senior sister, if you and I succeed in obtaining the creation jade butterfly, we will hand it over to the master when the time comes, and the master may be able to guide us on the road to sanctification. After he finished speaking, he couldn't help but be stunned when he saw Nuo's indifferent expression. Nuo had long known the opportunity for her to preach, and the opportunity was still firmly in Lu Gui's hands, so how could she take care of these 2 senior brothers? She politely declined, Senior brother, we can't fight the strength of Yingzhou Island. Yuan Shi smiled, Senior sister, our Sanking has 3 great heaven-opening treasures, and your strength is also a sub-sage. I'm afraid of you, junior sister, don't you want to help? As soon as his words fell, Lao Tzu knew that things were going to happen. Sure enough, Nuwa said coldly. Yuan Shi, what are you talking about? I'm not welcome you here, get out of here. Nuwa was furious, the sub-holy aura erupted, the Yuan Shi Taoist, Lao Tzu's face was dark. Yuan Shi's words offended Nuwa to death, and Lao Tzu hurriedly said. Senior sister, junior brother, he didn't mean that, let's go first. I'll make amends to you another day. Nuwa snorted coldly, no, brother Yuan Shideo, Nuwa is a person who is fur and horned, and she can't climb high. Nuwa, you. Yuan Shi was so angry that his face was distorted, and he snorted coldly and brushed his sleeves away. Nuwa's pretty face was cold, and at this time, she suddenly found that there were 2 people standing not far from her dojo. She took a step back in fright. When did these 2 arrive? As a sub-sage, she quarreled with Yuan Shi and Lao Tzu just now, but she didn't find these 2 people. We're from Yingzhou Island. Nuwa Daiu, you can create people. The heavenly Dao people changed their faces and said to Nuwa with an expressionless face. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, detective with 6 ears. Chapter 75. Human. Nuwa didn't react for a while, knowing that Kongtong Dao and the heavenly Dao people took out the gourd vine and the 9 heavens resting soil. She was so shocked that her scalp tingled. This is the person who 6 ears came to find? Didn't he come in person? Where's the 6 ears? Nuwa couldn't believe it, it was about the merit of creating people, so didn't the 6 ears come in person? The heavenly Dao people were indifferent. Poor Dao is the person who created people with you, and there is no need for the 6-eared Dao friends to come over. Nuwa Dao, if you don't welcome us, let's turn around and leave. The heavenly Daoists were about to leave, but Nuwa hurriedly stopped her. This was a major event for her to become holy. Come in, both of you. She introduced the heavenly Daoists and Kongtong Daoists into her cave mansion. The 2 looked around and found that there were many clay figurines in Nuwa's cave mansion that she had pinched herself. These clay figurines, lifelike. There is still a hint of the charm of creation in it, but it is still like a dead thing. Nuwa was annoyed for a while. Over the years, I have also studied the way of creation, but I have never really created any living beings. And, I ask you, does the monkey make sense when he says he will guarantee me sanctification? This matter is not asked by Nuwa, it is related to her preaching, and Lu Gui wants to take away her 5 successful virtues in creating people. In this world, how can there be any good thing that can be achieved by relying on the 5 virtues? Nuwa was deeply skeptical. Lu Gui looked at her appearance through the heavenly Dao people, and smiled. If you make merit in the normal way, 50% is definitely not enough for you to become holy. But put the cake. If the merit is bigger, 50% is enough. When Nuwa heard this, she was puzzled. Lu Guideo, first, your comprehension of the law of creation is too poor, use my method. After he finished speaking, he read out a legal decision for Nuwa, which shocked Nuwa and made her face sluggish. The method of creation taught by Lu Gui, even if Nuwa, who specializes in cultivating the avenue of creation, has many truths that she has not heard of. She looked solemn, listened carefully to the path of creation told by this mysterious man, and nodded frequently. The method spoken by this mysterious man was more than 3 times stronger than the law of creation she had comprehended. Lu Gui saw Nuwa listening carefully, and smiled secretly in his heart. When it comes to the law of creation, who can compare with him? With the Honghuang sword gourd, he comprehends the avenue of creation every day, and has the 2nd type of Pangu to set the enlightenment. Lu Gui's avenue of creation is well deserved as the first in the wilderness. Many years ago, he had already comprehended the method of creating people, and he was naturally more mature than Nuwa's temporary comprehension. If it wasn't for Nuwa to create people, but a fixed number, Lugui would have created people by himself a long time ago. Not long after, Nuwa's method of digesting and absorbing Lugui. They stared blankly at each other. This mysterious man is right, just this method is just this method. I'm afraid it will make her create a human effect, and it will be better. But that's not enough. Lugui took out the 9 heavens rest soil and the gourd vine, and said. But that's not enough. The normal creation of human beings for 9 days is enough, and the gourd vine and the magic power of creation are enough. However, poor Deo still wants to add some ingredients to it. Before Nuwa could ask what to add, Lugui waved his hand, and a world behind the heavenly Deo people gushed out countless water that shone with divine light. 3 light divine water. Nuwa exclaimed, she had never seen so much Sangguang divine water. The 3 light divine water is the first elixir of the flood famine. The 3 light divine water seen outside is all calculated by drops. When had she ever seen the 3 light divine water of a lake? The world behind Lugui was sparkling, a lake composed of 3 lights of divine water, which made Nuwa's legs and feet weak, and she only thought it was an illusion. With the 3 lights divine water and mud, it should be possible to increase the spirituality of creating people. Is that enough? Enough. Nuwa is going crazy. How can she not use the 3 light divine water to create a person? This kind of genius earth treasure is fused with a drop, and her merits in creating people will increase a lot, not to mention a lake and 3 light divine water for her to use. Lugui smiled when he saw Nuwa's appearance. He actually has one last means, and that is Kongtong Daoran. As a collection of human luck, humanity is a treasure. Kongtong Yin personally participated in the creation of human beings. I don't know how much merit this will produce. Not to mention anything else, Lugui is sure that he will double the merits of creating people. Daiu, I'm starting. Nuwa took a deep breath and began to recall Professor Lugui's divine recipe for creation, taking a touch of 3 light divine water and blending it into the 9 heavens rest. She pinched out a ball of 9 heavens rest soil, and according to Lugui's method, she began to pinch the clay figure. The first human ancestor created by Nuwa was a woman. This woman is 3 or 4 points like her. After pinching it, she blew softly. The clay figure came to life, his eyes flashing smartly, and his face was confused. It worked. Nuwa cheered, and a wisp of merit fell on her, and she instantly felt that she had unattained the sub-holy cultivation that she could not enter, and she had loosened a little. This is indeed my chance to become holy. Nuwa turned her head in shock, but found Lugui smiling indifferently. Fellow Taoist, we can do it too. 129,600, $1. $1 is the number to become a family. Lugui used the body of the heavenly Dao man to pinch a man. 1 difficult and 1 woman, yin and yang are self-generated. He also produced a ray of enlightenment merit. The 2 of them lifted their spirits and hurriedly accelerated their speed, and more merits were condensed in Nuwa and the heavenly Dao people. Meritorious auspicious clouds gather on Buzhu Mountain. Not long after, the creatures around Buzhu Mountain also discovered anomalies. Someone has done something of great merit. The great power near Buzhu Mountain, the desolate heavenly court, was the first to sense the change of things. Laozi and Yuan Shi, who had already left Buzhu Mountain, also turned back in shock. Not Zhou Mountain, great merit. Could it be that someone has been sanctified? Bang! There was a thunderclap in the sky, and the emperor shook. On Buzhu Mountain, there are more and more auspicious clouds of merit, and the creatures of the desolate world have been completely alarmed. Nuwa's merits in creating people cannot be hidden. This is, senior sister Nuwa's dojo. Laozi pointed to the Nuwa cave mansion and watched the chi of merit emerge from it. The rich merit vaguely echoes with the colorful clouds in the sky, forming a resonance. Earth-shaking. The powers of the desolation woke up one after another. Someone preaches and becomes holy, in Buzhu Mountain. The great powers such as the river Styx, Zhenyuanzi, Tongtian, and the two sages of the west sensed the changes in the heavens for the first time, and realized that someone wanted to become holy. They frantically moved towards Buzhu Mountain. Enlightenment and sanctification. Since the Taoist ancestor Honghuang became holy, the desolate creatures have been struggling to pursue the way of sanctification. Now that there are people preaching, of course we have to observe. Yingzhou Island, Candle Dragon, Chang 11, Queen Mother of the West and others also looked envious. The word is sanctified, and the sound of heaven is spread throughout the whole wilderness. They all want to meet the future saints and listen to the truth. But Aoluan noticed that Lu Gui, who was sitting at the top, was not interested. Buzhu Mountain. The speed at which the heavenly Taoist and Nuwa pinched the clay figurines became faster and faster, but the Kongtong Taoist was watching from the side, laughing. The chi of merit is becoming more and more condensed in Nuwa and the heavenly Dao people. When the speed of their creation reaches a certain degree of bottleneck, Kongtong Taoist wields a whip to create people. Syllable. The whip fell on the 9 heavens of earth, splattering countless dirt. The earth falls to the ground. In an instant, they became more terrans. Time passed imperceptibly, and more floods gathered in Buzhu Mountain. With the support of Kongtong Yin, the 3 of them finally kneaded the last clay figurine. Bang! In the desolate sky, a crack was faintly opened, and endless merits were instilled from the sky. The amount of merit is far beyond Nuwa's imagination. She was about to share the spoils with the heavenly Taoists, but she saw that the Kongtong Taoist suddenly made a move, rolled up her sleeves, and directly took away half of the merits. At the same time, the heavenly Dao people also have merit themselves. Nuwa looked at the 2 of them a little strangely, but she had been completely washed away by merit and couldn't pay attention to anything else. She sensed that the Dao of heaven opened a door for her, and Nuwa's Yuan Shen naturally sensed the Dao of heaven. I see. A trace of enlightenment rose in Nuwa's heart, and she pinned a wisp of Yuan Shen on the way of heaven. Rumble. She realized that her mind seemed to explode, and her whole person turned into countless points of light. That point of light, under the fusion of the chi of merit, recondensed into Nuwa's golden body. The body of a saint, the golden body of merit. Nuwa is in a moment, and the road of enlightenment is realized. I, Nuwa, conform to the way of heaven today and create a race. Race name, Terran. I have made merit and become holy. As soon as Nuwa's voice fell, the desolate land shook with a bang. Her coercion is all over the mountain. Those onlookers were powerful, and they were all cold, and the power of this coercion was not comparable to them at all. Under the saints, they are all ants. At that time, Honghuang preached that they did not have the opportunity to feel Honghuang's strength up close. Now, the great powers of the desolation really understand the strength of the saints, which is not comparable to anyone at all. Yuan Shi and Lao Tzu, who offended Nuwa just now, repented their intestines. Especially the Yuan Shi Dao people, who would have thought that Nuwa would preach the Tao in the blink of an eye. Above the heavenly court, Dijun's face is not good looking. His relationship with Nuwa was supposed to be okay, but they fell out because of the heavenly marriage. Now Nuwa has become holy in the blink of an eye. This demon clan appeared a saint, he should have rejoiced, but now it has become fear. If Nuwa holds a grudge, he will be very uncomfortable. Big brother, treat Fuxi well, you can solve hatred. Tai gently gave Dijun an idea. Dijun's eyes lit up and he looked at Fu 11. They turned their eyes back to Nuwa's cave mansion, only to see that the brilliance in the cave mansion gradually shrank. Nuwa testified, it's over. What about them? After Nuwa condensed the true body of the saint's merits, She turned around and found that the two mysterious people were no longer there. He was puzzled, looking around. All the human beings they created are there, except for two missing. It was the first man and woman of the human race. This monkey is mysterious, I'll settle accounts with you in the future. Nuwa pushed everything onto the monkey and turned to leave the cave. She had just stepped out of the cave, and the immortals worshipped. Congratulations to your Majesty Nuwa for her sanctification. Whether it is Sanking, Ershen, or Daijun, they all bow their heads in front of Nuwa. Nuwa nodded, about to say something. Suddenly, she sensed that somewhere in the wilderness, there was merit condensation. All the heavenly Dao people, today with merit, I will prove the heavenly Dao saint. It is the sound of the avenue again, and the merit is condensed. The flood powers who were on Buzhu Mountain were dumbfounded. Someone preached. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 76. In an inconspicuous area of the flood wilderness, the heavenly Taoists and the Honghuang Dao people stood at each other. With a wave of his hand, the 5 successful virtues of creating people that he intercepted fell directly into the 36 worlds of the heavenly Taoists. Heavenly Taoists, bow down and salute. Thank you. Honghuang Dao is humane, the merit of creating people proves the way of heaven, not humanity. Taoist friends are in the heavens, and the merits are collected. They are all their own people, and the people of the heavenly Dao are not polite, and they directly devour all the merits. This is a huge amount of merit, which is enough for him to make merit and preach the Tao. The heavenly Taoist has gained merit from the sky, and in an instant the merit washes his body. Refining the Hongmeng purple qi in the body, the heavens and the Taoists open their eyes. He and Nuwa glanced at each other, shattered into a little bit of light, and when they condensed again, they were already meritorious golden bodies. However, he has a special identity. When the 36 worlds of the 36 Dingai divine beads evolve vaguely resonate with his body. Honghuang was shocked. Another preached. Hongjun, who had already joined the Dao, couldn't help but be awakened by the movement of the heavenly Taoists. Why is there anyone who can make merit and preach? Hongjun pinched his fingers, but he couldn't count anything. He couldn't help but look in the direction where the merits were gathered. No matter who you are, as long as you make merit and preach the Tao, in front of the old man, there is nothing to hide. Hongjun's consciousness extended in the direction of the heavenly Dao people breaking through the heavenly Dao, wanting to see who it was, the soul of the heavenly Dao. It's just that he was disappointed. The heavenly Dao people of the nether realm, after condensing the meritorious Dao body, whispered softly. Today, the soul is sent for 36 days. The heavenly Dao people did not choose to entrust the Yuan Shen to the heavenly Dao, but to entrust it within 36 days. The 36 worlds washed by merit have grown into a world island, and they can bear the sustenance of the primordial gods in front of them. All the heavenly Taoists, preach and become holy. With a wave of his hand, he covered up the heavens and left with the Honghuang Daoist. The great powers of the desolation had planned to wait for the mysterious saint to reveal his traces. But he disappeared in such a strange way. It's possible. Hongjun was in Zixiao Palace, his eyes widened. The mysterious saint is gone. Is obviously a meritorious enlightenment, but his soul has nowhere to go except to entrust the way of heaven. And the saint just disappeared? Hongjun muttered to himself, could it be the mixed Yuan de Luo Jin immortal? Impossible. He denied his speculation. Mixed Yuan de Luo Jin Xian, he will not make such a big move. That person must have been a meritorious Taoist, and he was a heavenly Dao saint, but at the last moment, he did not choose to preach and become holy, but gave up halfway through the process. Anyone else gave up preaching? Hung Jun's face was pale, and there was a figure beyond his control in this desolation. It was very uncomfortable for him, a newcomer to the heavenly Dao. Who the hell is it? Who is the person who can make merits and preach the Tao? I'm afraid he didn't have the boldness. There are only two people in the world who know the truth, Nuwa and Lugui. Nuwa looked into the distance and was equally shocked. That person chose not to preach at the last moment? In her heart, what kind of friend is Lugui? The curiosity about Lugui in her heart suddenly grew, and she couldn't wait to go directly to Yingzhou Island and catch this dead monkey and ask about it. That's right, grab it. Nuwa Zozo's own knows, she is now a saint, and she can beat that monkey. I want to arrest him and force him to go on a blind date, that's right. Women are so stingy. The first thing Nuwa preached was to find trouble with Lugui. But she still has a lot to do before she can do that. €. For example, dealing with the people in front of you. The saint preached, when he preached the world, following the tradition of the ancestors. These people looked at Nuwa with blank eyes, and waited for Nuwa to preach. Nuwa looked at Sanking and Daijun in the crowd, and sneered in her heart. Dijun hurriedly said, Saint Nuwa, this place is not suitable for preaching. Do you want to go to my heavenly court, and I will give up Xiao Palace? Daijun couldn't wait to repair the relationship with Nuwa, but Nuwa snorted coldly. No, I only have the Sage Dojo. Nuwa didn't give Daijun face, and flew directly into the air, and those powerful people looked at each other and followed Nuwa hard. Nuwa flew between the fetal membranes of heaven and earth and the outside of the sky, only to see her make a casual move. Heaven and earth roared. Countless meritorious powers and laws converged in front of everyone and condensed into a palace. This palace is majestic, and the merits are golden. Who would have thought that the power of the saints would be terrifying? Created out of thin air. This is the saint. Come in. Nuwa was in her own palace, engraved the 3 words of Snail Palace, and flew in. Those great powers of the wilderness followed one after another. Today, Nuwa has become holy, and she will continue the tradition left by her ancestor and give you a lecture on the great Dao of creation. After Nuwa finished speaking, she began to evolve the avenue of creation for everyone. A group of people, listening quietly, before they knew it, were attracted to it. The saint preached. Even if it is the great power of the desolate wilderness that does not cultivate the great Dao of mind creation, I feel that I have benefited a lot. Time imperceptibly, 1,000 years have passed. Nuwa's speech ends. Everyone was still unsatisfied, but Nuwa had no intention of staying as a guest, and everyone was so powerful that they could only say goodbye and leave. Daijun wanted to stay, but Nuwa was lukewarmly alienated. He was furious, snorted, and took Tai away. Not long after, in the Snail Palace, there were only 6 disciples of Suanmen left. Sanking, Ershen, all looked at Nuwa. Waiting for Nuwa to share the method of enlightenment and sanctification, now that there is a famine, only the 6 of them have obtained Honghuang purple qi. Nuwa was the first to preach, and her experience was very important to them. This matter should have been Lao Tzu, as the senior brother of Suanmen, who was the first to mention it. But Lao Tzu had just offended Nuwa, and Nuwa estimated that her anger had not subsided, so he didn't dare to be the first to speak. If he doesn't speak, you and she naturally won't start. The other 3 looked at each other. Yuan Shidao was very dissatisfied with Nuwa's attitude and gritted his teeth. Nuwa became the first saint among the 6, and he himself was very shocked, and at the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he believed that the first to become holy must be their Sanking, who knew that Nuwa actually took the lead. Moreover, it was after he had just offended her. At this time, the Tongtian Taoist finally stood up and bowed. Congratulations to senior sister Nuwa for her sanctification. Senior sister, the 5 of us and the others have obtained Honghuang purple qi for many years, but they have never comprehended the opportunity to preach. Please guide us through the maze. Nuwa glanced at Yuan Shi and Lao Tzu and sneered. Senior sister, I am a person who wears horns, I'm afraid I can't guide you. When Yuan Shi Dao heard this, he stood up suddenly, and his face turned red. Nuwa rolled her eyes and smiled. But I can tell you how I got the opportunity to preach. 3 clear, 2 ways, focus your attention at once. Nuwa smiled. Yan Yan, I went to Yingzhou Island, and the 6-eared macaque told me that my fate was on the word creation. The opportunity for my preaching was told to me by Luer. If you have the ability, go and beg him. As soon as these words fell, Yuan Shidaoran's face rose redder than pig liver. Asking for 6 ears, Nuwa is clearly taking revenge on herself. He asked Nuwa to cooperate with him and besiege Yingzhou Island, and in the blink of an eye, let him beg Luer. Yuan Shi was almost angry with Nuwa's idea. He sneered and turned to leave. Lao Tzu sighed and followed. Only the heavenly Dao and the western Dao were left, frowning and silent. At this time, the 6-eared macaque Lu Gui, who was discussed by the 6 disciples of Suanmen, was in the Chaos Palace. In retreat, in his body, there is also a heavenly Daoist, looming. With the blessing of the heavenly Daoists, Lu Gui's ontology has also entered a realm similar to that of a saint. A doppelganger became a saint, but I didn't. I'm afraid this is the first time since the flood opened the world, right? Lu Gui laughed at himself, sensing the state of the heavenly Dao people. He was very satisfied. The heavenly Dao people had indeed achieved sanctification, but they were not souls sent to the heavenly Dao. He put his soul in his 36 worlds. The heavenly Dao people are probably also the most eccentric saints in the flood wilderness. The 12 heavens of the saints. Lu Gui sensed the realm of the saint from the heavenly Dao people. The way of heaven takes 9 as the pole number, and 12 as the perfection. The current realm of the heavenly Dao people is the saint double heaven, which can be described as weak. However, Lu Gui has nothing to be disappointed about, as his 3-corpse clone, his heels are not complete, and he is already very fortunate to be able to become holy. The 3 corpses testified that since the flood opened the world, it is estimated that they are all unprecedented. With the protection of the saint clone, I can go and explore the river of time. Lu Gui has long been looking forward to this place. The origin of the avenue, the long river of time. This is already beyond the realm of the flood desolation. I don't know what surprises it will bring him. If he can evolve the law of time in his body to the level of the great Dao. Can also preach the mixed Yuan de Luo Jinxian. Lu Gui thought for a while, and called Huang Zongtongzi, Zai, Chang 11, Queen Mother of the West and others. I'm going to a place, you guys take care of your home. After seeing that everyone agreed, Lu Gui pinched his fingers, took out the Hongmeng measuring ruler, and secretly handed it to Kongtong Daoren. Fellow Daoist, please. Kongtong Daoren took the Hongmeng measuring ruler and smiled. Okay, fellow Daoist, go. I'll go to the Terran territory and look for opportunities to preach. Lu Gui pinched the main road and disappeared into the desolate land. Hongjun, who was far away in Zixiao Palace, sensed the law of heaven and earth at the moment when Lu Gui disappeared, and it seemed to be broken for a moment. His expression changed drastically. Who is it, breaking through the heavenly Dao of the flood desolation? Hongjun was terrified and stood up suddenly. But no matter how he calculated, it was not useful information. This is the river of time. After Lu Gui crushed the main road, there was an inconspicuous river in front of him. On the bank of the river, there is a quaint stone monument, engraved with the word years. This is completely different from the river of laws in Lu Gui's imagination. However, he knew that he was not in the wrong place. Because the law of time here, the breath of time, is very strong. Lu Gui just stayed here for a while, and his ability to the law of time gradually improved. The years are long, and this is the main river of the long river of time. Lu Gui looked at the rolling river and tried to touch it with his hand, but his hand actually withered directly. He hurriedly withdrew his hand, and after the blessings of the heavenly Dao people, Lu Gui's hand returned to its original state. After confirming that it was a long river of time, Lu Gui looked around. After making sure that there was no other danger, he sat down and began his retreat to comprehend the avenue of time. Before you know it, time passes little by little. 10,000 years later, Lu Gui found that he had actually comprehended the law of time and had actually comprehended the realm of the great perfection. Lu Gui opened his eyes. After all, there was a trace of regret. 10,000 years is still too short, and he almost evolved the law of time to the great Dao level. At this time, the time has come, and Lu Gui must leave. The great road guide can only protect him for 10,000 years, and if he continues to stay here, I am afraid that he will be destroyed by time. Wait, what's that? Lu Gui was in the long river of time, and saw a bleeding and hideous beast, going straight downstream. He looked at the beast and a fishing rod. Put it away, let's go. The heavenly Dao people were guided by Lu Gui, and they appeared in the 36 worlds and directly devoured the giant beast. Fortunately, I have to wait for the heavenly Dao friends to come back to the saint, otherwise I wouldn't be able to get close to the long river of time at all. At this time, the time has come for the main road to lead. Lu Gui and the heavenly Dao people disappeared into the long river of time. As soon as he left, a terrifying existence appeared in the long river of time. The existence searched for a long time, but couldn't find what he was looking for, and couldn't help but roar. Who is it that has taken my prey and treasure? Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 77. That being, in the long river of time, shook the monstrous waves? But to no avail, Lu Gui had already left. Which fellow Taoist is it, and where is the power of the world? After he couldn't figure it out, he chose to disappear into the long river of time. Lu returned and successfully returned to the desolate world and landed in the secret realm of Abbot Immortal Island. He asked the heavenly Dao people to take out the corpse of the giant beast. Rumble. The heavenly Dao people took out the corpse from the 36 worlds and smashed it on the ground. There was a loud bang. Lu Gui's divine soul swept over the giant beast and was very shocked. This is the chaos demon god. No, this is the body of a saint, the body of law. The giant beast was very much like a dragon, but it was not any dragon genus that Lu Gui knew. The power of the law emanating from its body faintly distorted the time around it. The spiritual roots around the giant beast are growing and withering wildly. Some shrink drastically and turn into a seed. The presence of a behemoth confuses all the time. If it weren't for the great perfection of the law of time of Lu Gui, I am afraid that he would have died under the influence of the law of time of the giant beast, just like he was eroded by the long river of time. Heavenly Dao Saint. Great Dao Saint. The giant beast was obviously a powerhouse above a saint, and it was a mixed Yuendalo golden immortal who had seized the origin of the great Dao time. Lu Gui was very curious, and he found that there was a drop of essence blood in the giant beast's mind. He took out the essence and blood and took it. Bang! That drop of essence blood made Lu Gui's original perfect law quickly add a trace of the origin of the great Dao. Even Lu Gui's chaotic root bones were ready to move, as if they were about to condense a new demon god bloodline. The origin of the great Dao is fused in the power of time, and the law of time when Lu returns is instantly promoted. His power breaks through the sub-holy realm. The law of time, fused into the power of time. Lu Gui vaguely felt that the power beyond the flood was above. Chaos. He slammed his fist into the void for a moment. The void of the abbot's secret realm was blasted out of a crack by Lu Gui. In Zixiao Palace, Hong Jun suddenly stood up and looked at the desolate world outside the sky. He clearly felt that someone had crossed the heavenly Dao of the flood desolation and grabbed a trace of the source of power. Mixed Yuan de Luo Jin immortal. Hung Jun's face is more ugly than anyone else. In the desolate world, there are people who can break through the barriers of the heavenly Dao and preach the Dao with their strength. As a chaos demon god, he knows how difficult it is to prove the Tao with his strength. If he had succeeded so well in proving the Tao with his strength, he would not have chosen to become a saint of the wilderness. There are two ways to preach the Tao with strength. One is to cut through the chaos like the Panga great sage, fuse the 3,000 avenues into the path of power, preach the Tao and become holy, and go straight to the Dao saints. One of the limitations of this method of preaching is that there must be a chaotic area for the Taoist to preach. After Panga preached, no one was able to preach in this way, because chaos had turned into a desolation. It is impossible to give you a chance to preach. Unless you find the chaos orb, or other relative worlds, open up chaos. Otherwise, the first method is useless. Of course, if the law of the chaos bead is incomplete, it is a mixed element of enlightenment, and it cannot directly become a great Dao saint. But this method of cultivation is the most orthodox way to prove the Tao with strength. But there is another way to prove the Tao with strength. Is to use great mana to deduce his own laws to the extreme. Then break through the restrictions of the law and draw a trace of origin from the great Dao. This is the method of most of the mixed Yuan de Luo golden immortals cultivation, integrating a certain law with the origin of the great Dao to achieve the mixed Yuan. If the water grinds hard, grind this law into the law of the avenue. There is also the opportunity to preach to the saints of the great Dao. But this road is too difficult. It's so hard that it's impossible to complete. Hung Jun sensed that someone had broken the avenue, so it was no wonder that he was furious. He didn't want the desolation under his control to have an outlier. Forget it, this seat is in harmony, and it is limited by the way of heaven, so it can't be easily attacked. After the tribulation, let's talk. After Hung Jun finished speaking, he settled down again. And at this time, the abbot's secret realm. Lu Gui sensed a trace of the origin of the avenue integrated. In an instant, his body was constantly reorganized and reborn. In the end, the three bloodlines of Panga Divine Ape, Ruyi Demon Ape and Chaos Demon Ape fused together. On Lu Gui's body, a divine pattern also appeared, a time divine pattern. Years, will of time. Lu Gui used the supernatural power rewarded by his previous system, the will of time, and in an instant, everything grew wildly, withered, and died. His law of time at this time is stronger than before, I don't know how many times. Thanks to the origin of this giant beast's essence blood, I can break the law so easily. I didn't expect that the opportunity for me to become a mixed Yuan de Luo golden immortal was actually the law of time. This kind of avenue is not perfect, but if I find the chaos bead in the future, maybe I can preach again. Lu Gui felt the joy of becoming a chaos de Luo golden immortal. The law of time is transformed into the power of time. His slashing chaos has another layer of change. Lu Gui put away his joy and set his eyes on this giant beast. The body of this great beast is also a treasure. The blood he flowed was at least for the chaos secret realm of Abbot Immortal Island, which increased the chaos vitality. If it is used for alchemy and edible, the flesh of this giant beast will be of infinite use. I seem to have a volume of the Dan Sutra, just so that Honghuang Middle School can learn it, so that he can refine the Dan in the future. Lu Gui focused his attention on the fishing rod that killed the giant beast, and he touched the fishing rod with his hand. Naturally, the system sent him a message about the fishing rod. Years of fishing rods. Innate treasure. When Lu Gui sensed the information of the fishing rod, he was ecstatic. The grade of this fishing rod was actually an innate treasure. This fishing rod was picked up by Lu Gui from the long river of time, and it obviously does not belong to the desolate world. Another world's chaos arcana. Lu Gui thought thoughtfully, if you get the main road guidance again in the future, maybe there will be a chance. I just don't know, where will I go next? This fishing rod is an innate treasure of the time system, which can fish from the long river of time, and it is also a treasure of attack. This is a huge increase in the strength of Lugui. Hey, hey, I'm almost ready to complete the equipment of my 3 major clones and the 3 great apes. Lugui put away the fishing rod of the years, opened the abbot's secret realm, and let the boy in Honghuang come in. As soon as Comrade Chaos saw the huge divine beast of time, his face turned pale with shock. Lugui handed over the Danjing obtained from Shaoyang Mountain to Honghuang Tongzi. You learn the art of alchemy, this giant beast, you will practice part of it into an elixir and cultivate your disciples. Yes, master. The boy in Honghuang was given by Lugui and bowed. He looked at the beast and couldn't help but have a twinkle in his eyes. Saint, this giant beast is definitely a chaos demon god level saint powerhouse. The master was able to get the body of a saint. If they take it, the benefits of alchemy for them are almost endless. That's right, cut a piece down, I'll send it to Hutu girl. Also, let 11 and Chang 11 taste it too. Lugui summoned the Hongmeng sword gourd, directly cut off one of the legs of the giant beast, and put it into the mustard sumuru space. He cut off another piece of meat and brought it out of the abbot's secret realm. Island master, fellow Taoist. I haven't seen him for 10,000 years, Chang 11 and Zai are very happy to see Lu returning. The Queen Mother of the West's beautiful eyes also fell on Lugui. Lugui smiled. You guys go set up a shelf, we're going to have a barbecue today. When the 3 girls heard this, they looked at each other, and the island owner was so suddenly interested. Immortals, unlike the Wu clan, have little desire for food. However, the 3 girls were very obedient and obediently prepared to go according to Lugui's instructions. Downside charcoal. Lugui turned around and went to the abbot's secret realm. For a time, the Flood Continent may be the first barbecue conference, and preparations began to be in full swing in the Flood Wilderness. And at this time, outside Yingzhou Island, Penglai Immortal Island, Tongtian Dao people are at war with heaven and people. I've been thinking about whether to go to Yingzhou Island and visit the owner of Yingzhou Island. 5,000 years of money, the 2 shameless goods of the introduction and quasi-mention, but they have visited Yingzhou Island. However, it was blown away by the people on the island on the grounds that the owner of the island was not there. Saint disciples, Yingzhou Island does not give any face. This made the people of Tongtian Dao a little embarrassed. Forget it, for the sake of the avenue, what is it to give up some face? I'm a big deal, prepare a big gift. Tongtian Daoist gritted his teeth, made up his mind, selected a superb innate spirit treasure, and took it to Yingzhou Island. And at this time, Nuwa also flew down from the snail palace. I want to see, this hateful bastard, what do you do to me after I become a saint? Also, let him give me back the ancestor. After retreating in the snail palace for 10,000 years and stabilizing his saint realm, the first time Nuwa thought of going to Yingzhou Island and seeing Lugui. Among them, I kind of want to make this bastard deflated. But what Nuwa is most curious about is to ask who are her 2 mysterious friends. Why did he give up his soul and become a saint after preaching? All in all, there are too many secrets on this monkey that Nuwa can't see through. Of course, the more important thing is that the 2 ancestors of the Terran who were taken away by this bastard, the first man and the first woman of the Terran race. Nuwa thought about it afterwards, these 2 people may be the key to marriage. When it comes to her future, Nuwa can't wait to get the 2 ancestors back from the monkey immediately. With this purpose, she and Tongtian Daoran met unexpectedly. Meet the Nuwa saint all the time. Senior brother Tongtian. Nuwa and the Tongtian Dao people each bowed. Senior brother is also going to Yingzhou Island. Nuwa smiled and Yan Yan asked the Tongtian Daoist, and the Tongtian Daoist nodded. I want to ask the 6-eared Taoist friends for advice. Let's go together. The two traveled together and came to the outside of Yingzhou Island, after Nuwa explained her intentions. Yingzhou Island's four-sided sea array slowly opened. Welcome to the Nuwa sage. The candle dragon did not dare to be careless to Nuwa, and saluted respectfully. Nuwa nodded, looked at the fireworks of Yingzhou Island, and frowned. This immortal mountain-blessed land, how can there be fireworks? What are you doing on Yingzhou Island? The host is barbecuing, saying that he wants to give everyone benefits. The candle dragon replied honestly. This monkey is not serious at all. Nuwa snorted coldly in her heart, and under the leadership of the candle dragon, Yu Tongtian Daoren, flew all the way to the Chaos Palace. At this time, in the Chaos Palace square, Lu Gui temporarily built a huge barbecue grill and was busy. Not doing your job. Nuwa defined the monkey. When Lu Gui saw Nuwa coming, he didn't care about her saint majesty at all, but just smiled. Catch up and help burn the charcoal. When Nuwa heard this, her face sank. This guy didn't care about his saint status at all. She didn't have the courage to fly to Lu Gui's side, and Lu Gui threw a piece of wood at her. Nuwa took it and was about to have a seizure, when she suddenly realized that something was wrong. This wood. 5-needle pine, 6-ear, where did you get the 5-needle pine? You take 5 needles of pine and burn charcoal. Nuwa was terrified. Lu Gui glanced at her. Be mature, it's a saint anyway, what a fuss. Here's this slice already baked, here you go. Lu Gui handed over a piece of roasted meat and stuffed it directly into Nuwa's mouth. Nuwa originally refused, but as soon as the meat was in her mouth, it turned into a little bit of the law of time. A euro. She froze, and then, as fast as she could, swallow the slices of meat. Burn charcoal. Lu Gui ordered. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 78. The people of Tongtiandao, as well as the others on Yingzhou Island, were all frightened. What is Nuwa's identity, saint? Lu Gui actually called her so arrogantly. Moreover, that Nuwa actually ran to burn charcoal very honestly. The dead branches of the 5-needle pine are comparable to magic weapons, and not everyone can practice charcoal. Nuwa ran the true Yuan and shot a fire of creation, burning the 5-needle pine into charcoal. She was actually shocked, because the piece of meat that Lu Gui stuffed in her mouth shocked Nuwa inexplicably. The law of time. There's the law of time in that meat. Not only that. There was also a hint of the rhythm of the avenue that she couldn't tell. Even if Nuwa is a saint, after eating that piece of meat, she actually feels that her cultivation has improved a little. This made her Dao heart almost lost. This piece of flesh is at least the flesh and blood left by the saint-level chaos demon god. Keep this guy, can you kill the demon god? Nuwa's sister originally had a trace of teasing Lu Gui's thoughts, and she was directly extinguished. In his eyes, Lu Gui became more and more mysterious. If only he could replace Dijun and become the heavenly emperor of the demon clan. Why don't the demon clan worry? Lu Gui didn't have as many ideas as Nuwa. He sandwiched the meat of the mysterious demon god, flipped it, and sprinkled spices. Use the Hongmeng sword gourd to cut the meat into slices of meat. Tongtiandao people, looking at fools on the side. The congenital spiritual root is pine and charcoal, and the congenital treasure cuts meat? What kind of meat is this? After Lu Gui finished burning, he smiled. You can take it as you like, Tongtiandaist, you don't have to be polite. Curious, the Tongtiandaist gently took a piece of meat and ate it carefully. That flesh melted in the mouth, instantly becoming the law of countless years of time, and integrating into the body of the heavenly Dao people. The law of time. Will of chaos. The body of a saint. Tongtian was like Nuwa, her scalp was numb in shock, and she couldn't help but scream. The body of a saint, the six-eared macaque actually barbecued the holy body of a saint-level fierce beast? How did he do it? Tongtian Taoist was in a cold sweat, and every time he thought that he could find out the limit of the 6 ears, but the 6 ears were still mysterious and unpredictable, making him scratch his head. The body of a saint. Where did the saint come from? Nuwa and Tongtian can't think through it, and they don't dare to think about it. Lu Gui didn't seem to notice all this, and beckoned everyone to come and eat meat. Zai, Chang 11, Queen Mother of the West. Candle Dragon, Huangzhong, Aoluan, and others all got a piece of meat suitable for themselves according to their cultivation. As soon as the people ate, all of a sudden, they were all stunned. The power of the law, the rhyme of the saint, the origin of the avenue. Shanhui, Zai, Queen Mother of the West and others, a piece of meat directly broke through their own cultivation. On the Chaos Square, there are people from Yingzhou Island everywhere, breaking through the realm of mana fluctuations. Tongtian Dao and Nuwa looked numb. Yuanhong, middle period of De Luo Jingxian. 11 and Chang 11, the middle period of the quasi-saint. Queen Mother of the West, quasi-saintly late period. Aoluan, the early stage of De Luo Jingxian. Huangzhongboi, the pinnacle of quasi-sainthood. The core characters of Yingzhou Island have broken through the realm one by one. Let Tongtian Dao and Nuwa look at it in shock. It turned out that unconsciously, the strength gathered by Yingzhou Island has long surpassed other forces. Nuwa looked at Lu Gui deeply and put away her little thoughts. Don't dare to put down the saint shelf again. Wash your own barbecue grill after eating. Come here. Lu Gui took his hand and walked into the Chaos Palace. Nuwa and Tongtian glanced at each other and followed up. Why did you come? Lu Gui got straight to the point and asked the Taoist and the sage Nuwa. The Tongtian Taoist gritted his teeth and handed the Tongtian spirit treasure in his hand to Lu Gui. Mixed Yuan Jin Do? Dao is willing to do it? Lu Gui looked at the treasure handed over by the Tongtian Taoist and smiled. Mixed Yuan Jin Do, this is a treasure that will shine in the future in the divine tribulation. Sang Xiao relied on the mixed Yuan golden bucket to lay down the Jiquielo River Great Array, and almost wiped out the sect interception group. If it weren't for Lao Tzu and Yuan Shi's shameless saint to end up in person, the God tribulation would have ended long ago. This treasure is not of much use to Lu Gui. He casually put away the mixed Yuan gold bucket. Ask, what do you want to ask? Tongtian Daoist gritted his teeth. Six-eared Daoist, since the six of us got the Hongmeng purple chi from the master, we have also devoted ourselves to cultivation, polishing the Dao heart, and refining the Hongmeng purple chi. But I don't know why, we just can't achieve sanctification. Tongtian dares to ask the six-eared Taoist friends, where is the opportunity for my Tongtian Daoist to preach? Lu Gui laughed. Daoist friends and Yasheng are not, what kind of Taoist saint do you seek? If the foundation is not stable, the saints will also suffer. Do you really understand your Dao heart? The Tongtian Daoist was tortured by Lu Gui's soul and instantly became confused. You are a Taoist of heaven, not informal, but the style of a sword immortal. Your way, in a cut word supremacy, intercept the heavenly opportunity for all sentient beings, and fight for the first line. Lu Gui's words, Tongtian Dao people's brains were like being blown open by thunder, and they fell into an epiphany in an instant. There is no class to teach, intercept the heavenly machine. The Tongtian Dao people muttered to themselves, and the next moment the Dao heart was complete, and he directly entered the sub-holy realm. The host broke the news through the heavenly Dao, breaking the news level, a reaction level, convinced. Overall rating, A. The host gets a reward, the best innate spirit treasure Fenjiao Shenjian. The host has gained mana for 100,000 years. The host has obtained supernatural powers, swallow the sky. The host obtains 2 origin of battle, 2 origin of force, and 1 origin of the innate 5 elements. Host pointed out the location of his Dao heart for the Taoist of Tongtian, and Lu Gui successfully obtained the reward. An innate spirit treasure is no longer in Lu Gui's eyes, Fenjiao Shenjian, the best innate spirit treasure of the illusion department. Lu Gui put it away. As for the supernatural power, heaven swallowing, it is also a powerful devouring innate supernatural power. He casually ordered to practice, and Lu Gui instantly comprehended the law of devouring. As for the origin of war, the origin of strength. After devouring, the law of force and the law of battle in his body finally completed his merits. The law of force is perfect, and the law of war is perfect. The two laws erupted with a shocking momentum. Nuwa, who was beside Lu Gui, felt Lu Gui's powerful and surging mana, and her heart was beating in shock. He's really hidden, he's a mixed Yuandalo Jin immortal. Nuwa was secretly glad that she hadn't acted rashly just now. The Taoist stood there and realized the Tao for 3 days and 3 nights before he woke up. As soon as he woke up, he didn't say a word, and knelt down and kowtowed directly to Lu Gui. Nuwa was stunned. I didn't expect the people of Tongtian Dao to be like this. My predecessors saved me 100,000 years of hard work, and I am grateful to the sky. Lu Gui bowed slightly, and accepted the gift of the Taoist of Tongtian. Tongtian stood up, and stopped talking. Lu Gui smiled, do you want to ask, where is the opportunity for enlightenment? Tongtian Daoist nodded, ask the seniors for guidance. Nuwa created a human being, it is your opportunity to preach, if you want to become a heavenly Dao saint, in addition to the foundation of the great Dao, you also need great cultivation and great merit. Only by meritocracy of heaven and earth can we sense the heart of heaven and become holy. The human race is the key to the congenital transformation of the flood famine, and the luck of the flood famine. Your opportunity to preach is above the human race. Lu Gui pointed out the opportunity to break the Sanking preaching, anyway, he didn't say it, Sanking would soon comprehend it confidently. Tongtian Taoist suddenly realized. He muttered to himself. Terran, it turns out that our opportunity for enlightenment is in the Terran. The people of Tongtian laughed. My predecessors will be my half-division from now on, and I will see you all over the sky in the future, retreat, and never be an enemy. With that, he knelt down again, and then brushed his sleeves away. The host broke the news of the secrets of the 3 clear and 2 saints, the level of revelation, S, the reaction level, Fengruo God. Overall grade, SS rank. The host has obtained a supernatural power, heavenly Dao divine pupil. The host has obtained the best innate spirit treasure Fate Talisman. The host has gained mana for 1,000,000 years. The host gets 1 origin of destruction, 1 origin of destiny. The host obtains a drop of Pangu essence blood, and a wisp of heavenly Dao origin 1. This time, the return reward exploded. Has the host promoted the divine power Fire Eye to the divine power, heavenly Dao divine pupil? Yes. Lu Gui got a prompt from the system, and instantly turned his natal supernatural powers, fiery eyes, and spirit into a heavenly Dao deep pupil. In his eyes, countless avenue rhymes flashed. Heavenly Dao divine pupil, compared to the fiery eyes, I don't know how many times stronger. The fiery eyes are at most a kind of illusion-breaking supernatural power, but the heavenly Dao divine pupil, in addition to having the ability to break illusions and see through the law. A Euro trademark. There is also a force against the sky, chaotic way. Peep through the opponent's Dao heart, disturb the opponent's Dao heart, and turn the law that the other party comprehends into chaos. This is a big killer in the flood and unpreparedness. Lu Gui was very satisfied with this magical power. If you comprehend this magical power, the more laws you comprehend, the deeper it is, the stronger it will be. At this time, Nuwa stood behind Lu Gui and sensed the monstrous weather machine that erupted from Lu Gui. I can't complain anymore. She felt an endless sense of frustration, compared to this monkey, Her own promotion to saint did not seem to be worth looking forward to at all. Nuwa turned to Lu Gui's eyes and looked at him as if she had closed her eyes. Just when she was curious, Lu Gui suddenly opened her eyes. Heavenly Dao, divine pupil, chaotic Dao. Nuwa was caught off guard and was hit by Lu Gui Tiandao's divine pupil. Her Dao heart was instantly chaotic. Facing Lu Gui's deep and mysterious gaze, Nuwa Saint's humane heart instantly collapsed. Some innermost memories emerge. Her heart was beating violently. Lu Gui withdrew his supernatural powers and looked at Nuwa in front of him. Nuwa's pretty face was flushed, and after looking at Lu Gui, she turned her head. Monkey, you. Don't blame fellow Taoists, this is a magical power I just comprehended, I can't take it. Humph. Nuwa's heart was weak for a while, and she didn't dare to look at Lu Gui. Lu Gui was inexplicable. By the way, monkey, are you going to give me back? Nuwa hurriedly changed the topic and raised her fist to threaten Lu Gui. Lu Gui smiled, human marriage, I have tried it, it is not on the union of human ancestors. The two of them, my apprentice Honghuang accepted as a disciple, it is the third generation of disciples under my disciple, and they have already formed a Taoist couple. I'm sure that the first couple of men and women of the human race got married, not a human marriage. When Nuwa heard this, she couldn't help but feel lost. However, Nuwa was lost. I remembered one more thing, solemnly. Fellow Taoist Lu Gui, I have something I want to ask you. Fellow Taoists, please speak. Lu Gui was curious about what Nuwa wanted to say. Nuwa looked solemn. Taoist friends are also mixed you and a Jin immortal now, the same level as a saint, have you ever thought about reconciling with my master? When Lu Gui heard this, he was stunned for a moment. Nuwa continued, fellow Taoist, master hates you, but it's just because you knew something when you were in the wilderness. He doesn't like your supernatural powers, so he decided not to teach you the Tao. In fact, you don't have any major contradictions. Now you are also a flood wilderness saint, although you are a chaos great Luo golden immortal, you are also a figure in the flood wilderness. Why don't I come forward, how about you reconcile with my Suanman? When Lu Gui heard this, he smiled. He's a fart, why should Laozi reconcile with him? Besides, you're still worried about your own business. Do you think Hongzhen won't pit disciples? When Nuwa heard Lu Gui's words, her face changed dramatically. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 79. When Nuwa heard Lu Gui's words, her face was full of shock. As the great sage of the demon race and the holy mother of the human race, you will be calculated by your master in the end. Tongtian, as a disciple of Dao ancestor, can't escape. Hongzhen has never been a broad-minded person. For the sake of profit, he killed 2 of his 3 friends and injured 1, what do you think he is a good thing? I returned to the land, what is the crime? It's just because of his natural instinct to listen to heaven and earth, and he is disgusted by him, just because of the unsightly things he has done, I know it. Such a Dao ancestor, such a heavenly Dao, why should Laozi reconcile with him? Lu Gui said a lot of words in one breath, leaving Nuwa speechless. Nuwa was shocked, and hurriedly asked, Lu Gui, you said that the teacher would calculate me, what do you say? Lu Gui sneered, just look at it. You don't believe it anyway. Nuwa, you are the same, as a demon saint and as a human mother, you are actually a very failure. As a demon, you can't shelter the demon clan, as a mother, the human race is just a tool for your preaching. Seriously, if I become a saint like you, I might as well find a piece of tofu and kill me. Nuwa's face was blue and red when Lu Gui said it, and she gritted her teeth. 6 aired, you say it again. Are you still afraid of people talking? Lugui was sarcastic. Nuwa couldn't stand it, and directly sacrificed the red hydrangea. The majesty of the saint erupted on Yingzhou Island, and everything was subdued. The sentient beings on Yingzhou Island were suddenly suppressed by Nuwa's erupting qi. Even if it was as strong as a sub-saint like Candle Dragon, they couldn't stand Nuwa's coercion. But Lugui was not afraid, and just smiled sarcastically. Saint Quadre Heaven, yes, I thought you were at most triple heaven. Nuwa's meritorious preaching is obviously much stronger than that of the heavenly deists. Although the heavenly deist also has merit and enlightenment, but because he is not a soul to send to the void, and his heel is only a doppelganger of Lugui, there are only saints and double heavens, but Nuwa relies on the merits of creating people to preach the saints and the four heavens. She held the red hydrangea in her hand, and the coercion exploded. Lugui smiled. He forced Nuwa to make a move, but he also wanted to test his strength. Preaching the Tao mixed with the Yuan de Luo Jin immortal, Lugui Ke is a saint and a heavy sky. Strictly speaking, it's worse than Nuwa. There is no way to use it to preach the Tao and deduce a great avenue to break the law, and you can't cheat like the meritorious enlightenment, you can only move forward step by step. Unless you find an arcane treasure like the chaos bead and directly open the heavens and break the way, it is possible to do it in one step. However, Lugui is not afraid of Nuwa. His heels are much stronger than Nuwa's. The heavenly Dao man has always been in Lugui's body, and he has fused the 36 worlds of the heavenly Dao man. The twin saints, the law of war, the law of force, the law of time, and the law of space represented by the world erupted at the same time. Nuwa's red hydrangea shot, and Lugui smiled. A god killer appeared in his hand. One shot, it is to cut the sky. Heavenly Dao supernatural powers, the creation of supernatural powers to Shang Nuwa. Bang! Nuwa's expression changed drastically, and there was no blood on her face in an instant. And Lugui, whose figure shook for a while, withstood Nuwa's attack. The four saints are equal to the mixed Yuan de Luo Jin immortal and one heavy sky. One gasification and three clearances. Lugui is now a Pangu divine ape, a chaos demon ape, and a Ruyi demon ape. The three great apes were born. Lugui sacrificed the Honghuang sword gourd, / chaos. Pangu divine ape, fixed. Ruyi demon ape, cutting the sky. Nuwa didn't expect Lugui's mana to be so powerful. With one chi and three clears, she alone is almost equivalent to facing the three major saints, plus the heavenly Dao people who are hiding but not released, and the heavenly Dao people backed by the 36 worlds are hiding in the dark. Bang! The two saints made another move. A trace of blood oozed from the corner of Nuwa's mouth. Even if she was 3 realms higher than Lugui, she was still injured by Lugui. And Lugui did not pay a price, but the 36 worlds, the 3 major chaos roots, shared Nuwa's attack. On the contrary, he is better than Nuwa. Yes, if I add the years of fishing rods, I can easily kill her. Lugui tried out the upper limit of his current strength. Nodding in satisfaction. Knowing his depth, Lugui can find his own position. Among the future saints of the flood desolation, Nuwa is almost at the bottom, and only Zunti may be similar to her. Fusing the heavenly Dao origin, within 10,000 years, I can be promoted to the saint double heaven. But if you want to advance quickly, you still have to find the chaos orb. Lugui thought of this, his brows furrowed. He broke the news so many times, and he never got the reward of the chaos bead. Only by obtaining the chaos bead can you use your strength to prove the Tao and absorb the power of the chaos bead. He can advance quickly. You must know that after becoming a saint, if you want to go further, it is difficult and dangerous. Either it depends on time to grind, or it creates great merits, or it is some heavenly and earthly treasure similar to the origin of the heavenly Dao. There is no other way. No hurry. Lu Gui reassured himself. And he didn't notice. Nuwa was beaten by him to doubt her life. As the first saint after Honghuang and the only saint in the wilderness now. When Nuwa had just been promoted to saint, she had thought about making trouble for Lu Gui. Now he found that Lu Gui was not afraid of any saint in the world at all. He is like an iceberg, what you see is always only the tip of what he is willing to let you see. Nuwa was cold all over her body, and she had a vague sense of fear of Lu Gui. How old is a person who does not agree with each other? Lu Gui sued first, and glanced at Nuwa with disdain. If you think I'm wrong, go and see the terrains of the flood wilderness. Have you ever seen it since you created man? Nuwa was speechless. There are three realms of heaven, earth, and man. As the holy mother of the human race, you should have preached in humanity. But your foundation is in the heavenly Dao, but you have also lost a great opportunity. Humanity is also because of you, he. Lu Gui said halfway through, so he didn't say anything. Now, it's not time to break the news about humanity. Nuwa lost her soul. Heavenly marriage, when I want to get married, I will naturally ask you to cooperate. But the three marriages of heaven, earth, and man are indispensable. If you want to promote the red hydrangea to a treasure of cause and effect, take a look at this world. Take a look at it, that one from Xixiao Palace. After Lu Gui finished speaking, he waved his hand, and Nuwa left in silence. Lu Gui didn't bother to care if Nuwa understood. Now that he is a saint, he has obtained the origin of the heavenly Dao, and he is just going back to refine. The origin of the heavenly Dao, corresponding to the origin of the great Dao, is the most fundamental vitality of the heavenly Dao and the great Dao. The bottom layer of the rules. The saint has obtained the refining of the heavenly Dao origin, and he can improve the realm. This kind of treasure is rarer than Honghuang purple qi, and Lu Gui estimates that even if the flood desolate heavenly Dao exhausts his family's funds, there may not be many. If the sky is gone, I am afraid that the flood will enter the age of saints. I still have a trace of Honghuang purple qi in my hand. To whom shall I preach? Lu Gui took the excess wisp of Honghuang purple qi and began to fall into deep thought. Soon after, he put the matter aside for the time being and went into retreat in the abbot's secret realm. And at this time, outside the flood, little by little, the situation is changing. Outside of Yingzhou Island, the people of Tongtian Dao, after receiving a reminder from Lu Gui, have already understood where the opportunity for their preaching is. He flew to the vast desolate world in search of the human race. These human races, since they were born in the flood wilderness, in addition to having a relationship with Nuwa, it quickly disappeared in the eyes of the great power of the wilderness. The human race is too weak, and it is an acquired soul. In this desolate world, it is simply the bottom of the food chain. If it weren't for Lu Gui's reminder, the Tongtian Dao people probably wouldn't have noticed these weak beings. The people of the heavenly Dao fall above the human race. I only heard them vaguely praise the blessing of the Wu clan and praise the ancestors of Kongtong. Teach them how to use fire, learn to write, build houses, and more. Who is Kongtong? As the mother of the human race, Nuwa is inferior to the Wu clan in the status of the human race. The Tongtian Dao people heard the singing of the Terran tribe and frowned. However, he looked at the appearance of the human race who was happy to know his fate and struggled to survive, and he realized something. My way to heaven is to intercept the heavenly opportunity and seek a glimmer of life. Isn't that true of these Terrans? They are struggling to survive, but I am struggling to be a saint. Tongtian Dao people, enlightened Dao heart in an instant. I should go back and tell the two senior brothers the way to become holy. Tongtian Dao people, excited, all the way to Kunlun Mountain. At this time, Kunlun Mountain. Lao Tzu, Yuan Shi, leading, and Zunti the four Taoists are sitting cross-legged. Senior brother Tongtian, I'm not here. Does he still have the idea that we will advance and retreat together? The first Taoist was angry at Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu was silent, receiving the Taoist and the quasi-Taoist people, looking at each other. Yuan Shidao people have a gloomy face. Senior brothers, I recruited you here because of one thing, and you also know it, those 6 ears seem to know our method of sanctification. I also got some fragments of the creation jade butterfly in the hands of the master. I want to ask a few senior brothers, what do you think? Receiving the Taoist and the perspective lifter back. What does senior brother want to say? Yuan Shidao, I know that the 2 junior disciples once planned to go to Yingzhou Island to ask Lu'er for advice. The guide and the quasi-Taoist heard Yuan Shi's words, and couldn't help but look stunned. 2 junior brothers, have you gained? The people who received the Taoist and the quasi-Taoist had blue and white faces. They were on Yingzhou Island and had a closed door. Do you think you can get the method of enlightenment from that monkey? Do you think you are a junior sister, you have the temptation of women, or do you have the love of the same race? Yuan Shidao people, extremely ironic. The face of the guide is as heavy as water. Senior brother Yuanshi, you have something to say, don't beat around the bush. Yuan Shidao humanitarian. What I want to say is that our relationship with Lu'er can't get benefits from him, but we can get it from Shizun. The people who received it and the people who were supposed to mention it were puzzled. In fact, after Honghuang accepted them as disciples and taught them some supernatural powers in the 3rd sermon. This master has been like not, and has rarely appeared. Is there a connection? Seeing that the 2 of them were puzzled, Yuan Shidao explained with a smile. The creation jade butterfly is in the hands of the other party. If we are senior brothers, we can summon the Suanmen to attack Yingzhou Island, snatch the creation jade butterfly, and return it to the master. Do you think the master will instruct us on the method of enlightenment? The eyes of the guide and the quasi-guide person lit up. This method is reliable. However, the Taoists said, but that Yingzhou Island is strong, and there are at least 2 sub-saints. How do we deal with it? Yuan Shi smiled. It doesn't matter, my senior brother has completed his Dao heart and become a sub-saint. I'm 1 step away from Yasheng. With the 2 of us, the 2 Yasheng are not a problem. 2 junior disciples, plus my Tongtian junior brother, plus the quasi-saint power I was looking for. Yingzhou Island, you can definitely take it. Senior brother. After the Yuan Shi Dao man finished speaking, the Tongtian Dao man returned to the dojo. As soon as he came in, Yuan Shi snorted coldly, where have you gone again? We are discussing the siege of Yingzhou Island, you hurry up and sit down. Tongtian was stunned when he heard this. Senior brother, why are you doing this? Junior brother, I have already sworn that where the 6 ears have passed, I will retreat from the sky. Not to mention Tongtian. When Yuan Shi heard this, he stood up directly and rebuked Tongtian. What are you talking about? I have the same origin and the same body, do you still want to stay out of it? Did you take a little benefit from 6 ears and forget who you are? Tongtian Dao people, who were scolded by the Yuan Shi Dao people, had a cold light in their eyes. Senior brother, what do you mean? I do things all the time, and I still need to explain to you. 2 people, saber rattling. Lao Tzu stood up at this time. Don't say anything about anyone. Yuan Shi was still unwilling. I think he forgot about brotherhood because of the little favor on Yingzhou Island. Hearing this, he was furious. Yuan Shi, haha, what did you say? Okay, poor Dao really got a little favor from Lu'er, and he also thought of brotherhood, and rushed back to tell you. What are you talking about me? Yuan Shi Dao sneered, why, do you still want to take that little thing from Lu'er to show off to us? Tongtian Dao people step. Yuan Shi, don't you regret it? Yuan Shi Dao sneered, what qualifications do you have to make me regret it? When I heard this, I was not angry. Well, since you say so, I'll laugh at what 6 ears told me about the sermon method. After he finished speaking, he turned into a sword light, turned around and left. Lao Tzu, Yuan Shi was dumbfounded. Receiving the lead, Zun Ti was also dumbfounded. The way of the saint of the Tao, why don't you chase it quickly? Lao Tzu was angry, glared at the Yuan Shi Dao people, and hurriedly chased after the Tongtian Dao people. It's just that halfway through the chase, they lost their figure. After half a day, and they heard the sound of the heavens. People who pass through the heavens and become holy. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 80. The Saint of Tongtian, flying all the way. Fall on top of a tribe of the Terrans. The Terrans were terrified, armed with weapons, and raised them up to the heavenly deists. Tongtian Daoist spoke. I am a descendant of the Suanman Dao ancestor, a person from the heavenly Dao, and I want to accept some of you as disciples, are you willing? Those Terrans, you look at me, I look at you. Some of them even vaguely knew the immortal law. Tongtian saw it and was surprised, there was someone among the human race who had already passed down the immortal law. Although this immortal method is vulgar, it is an inheritance after all. The sky was shocked, could there be anyone who discovered the secrets of the human race earlier than them? Dare to ask Dao Chief, what kind of sermon do you want to preach? This human race, there are even people who ask about the teachings of the heavenly deists. Tongtian Daoist was full of emotion and spoke directly. My way, there is no class of teaching, being fur and wearing horns, wet eggs, you can join the religion. My way, I should strive for a glimmer of heaven for all sentient beings, intercept the heavenly opportunity, and become transcendent and holy. As he spoke, the Terrans looked at each other. That's what the ancestor of Kongtong said, what does it mean that my life is up to me? It doesn't seem to be a contradiction. Tongtian Dao people, hearing this sentence, shocked as if struck by lightning, this sentence can be regarded as a summary of the true meaning of Tongtian Dao law. I saw that some of those human beings knelt down directly. Ancestor Kongtong said that the human race is self-reliant and self-improving. The way of the ancestors, the way of our human race, we are willing to worship you as a teacher. Rumble. At the moment when these people knelt down, the people of Tongtian Dao only felt that the clouds of merit and auspiciousness were shrouded. Enlightenment rose in his heart, and Lu Gui really didn't lie to him. His Tao is to intercept the heavenly opportunity. His opportunity for preaching was the human race in front of him. Today, I set up a sect through the heavens, teach without class, and educate sentient beings. The sage of Tongtian recited his mantra for the establishment of the religion, and in an instant, the desolate earth shook. All sentient beings can't help but look up and look in the direction of the heavenly Dao and the Tao. A saint, another saint was born. It's the second apprentice of the Dao ancestor, a Daoist from the heavens. The saint is born, there is no class, and the saint is merciful. The power of the desolation, the living beings, sensed the true words of the people of the heavenly Dao, and their minds were complicated. There is no class to teach. This saint's mind is not ordinarily broad. Many human races and demon clans in the flood wilderness have the idea of going to the throne of the Tongtian sage to listen to the sermon. At this time, the heavenly saint finally sensed that the heavenly Dao had opened an opening for him. His meaning is connected with the way of heaven. I should merge the 3 corpses of good and evil, and become holy. Tongtian Dao people, cut off a trace of primordial spirit, fell into the depths of the heavenly Dao, and turned into a mark. While a mark is marked, in an instant, the way of heaven descended boundless merits. Through the heavens, the word is sanctified. And the merits of the heavenly Dao will directly brush his cultivation to the 5 heavens of the sage. In the distance, the Kunlun Mountains, Lao Tzu, Yuan Shi, Jiyin, and Zun Ti, sensed the movement of the Taoist people of Tongtian Dao from afar, and their expressions were very wonderful. "Senior brother has preached. And we just offended him," Lao Tzu said expressionlessly. As soon as he finished speaking, Yuan Shi's expression distorted into one. He was here to share with us the sermon. Lao Tzu's words, "with a friend," slapped on the face of the Yuan Shi Dao, which made him very uncomfortable. However, Lao Tzu himself also vaguely has a feeling of discomfort. He always felt that the first person to establish the doctrine and preach should be himself. But Lao Tzu didn't have time to think about it. Now he just wants to find Tongtian senior brother and ask for a way to become holy. He hurried towards the place where he had preached to heaven. And pick up the lead and hurry up to keep up. Only Yuan Shi, his face was blue and white, and he wanted to follow him, but his self-esteem did not allow it. "There is no class, Tongtian, you are deliberately targeting me." The face of the Yuan Shi Dao man was distorted into a ball. On this side of the Terran territory, the Tongtian Dao people accepted 3 named disciples. After completing the merits of establishing the teachings, he transmitted the Tao into the minds of the other party. "You can go back to the East China Sea with me to practice. Respect Master's life." Those human races, who were swept up by the divine powers of the heavenly Taoists, flew to Jinao Island together. In the distance, Lao Tzu and Sun Ti flew over. He snorted. Lao Tzu hurriedly stopped him. "Senior brother, it's not right to be senior brother Yuan Shi just now, don't be weird." "That's right, Tongtian sage, we didn't mean to target you. Don't you care?" Receiving the Taoist and the quasi-Taoist, licking his face to greet the heavenly sage. The sky seemed to be smiling, and the saint coerced. The two of them turned pale for a moment. Receiving the Taoist and Sun Ti, I didn't expect Tongtian to come with such a hand, and his face changed greatly. Lao Tzu sighed and said, "Saint, you have become holy, this is a congratulatory gift from the old Tao." He took out the 8 Views Palace lantern in his hand and flew to the Tongtian Dao bar. His attitude has suppressed the people of the heavenly Dao. Tongtian sighed, "Senior brother doesn't have to be like this." Receiving the Taoist, the quasi-Taoist person, seeing Lao Tzu is like this, he is also a person who sees the wind and turns the rudder. They gritted their teeth, one flew out of the Qinglian treasure color flag, and the other flew out of 6 pure bamboos, which also fell in front of the eyes of the Tongtian Dao people. These 2 treasures, but they made the Taoist and the quasi-Taoist feel distressed to death. The 2 of them were already poor, and they didn't have a few treasures on them. This Qinglian treasure color flag is one of the wooden flags in the innate 5 flags, the vitality is circulating, the defense is unparalleled, among the best spiritual treasures, not under the 12 meritorious golden lotus. Now that it is given, it is so distressed that the hearts of the people who want to mention it are about to be broken. And the other treasure is the body of the guide who is the embodiment of the bitter bamboo. Connecting the Taoist, the heel is the bitter bamboo among the 10 innate spiritual roots, and after he transformed, the original body was refined into an innate spiritual treasure by him, which was the 6 pure bamboos in front of him. This bamboo can seal people's 6 senses, although the attack is average, but it is very weird. Lao Tzu, the sincerity of Sun Ti is not insufficient. These 3 treasures are comparable to the mixed UN gold bucket. Tongtian Dao people are expressionless. "Senior brother, I got the Dao method from the 6-eared divine monkey, and I originally wanted to give selflessly, but you are calculating the 6-eared method. If I teach you the Dao method, I'm afraid I will take revenge." When Lao Tzu and the others heard this, they were ashamed and angry, and they wanted to strangle Yuan Shi, the bastard. If it weren't for his cheapness, he wouldn't have to pay the price at all. No, it is to pay the price, and at this time, the Tongtian saint may not be willing to promise himself and others. Lao Tzu was almost half pleading, "Senior brother, about the way of the avenue, you can help as a brother. These magic weapons, poor Dao is useless." The fate of the poor road is also exchanged for a mixed yuan golden bucket. Then I will transfer these things to the owner of Yingzhou Island on my behalf. Fortunately, Tongtian Dao people sighed. After all, I still can't bear it. He said to Lao Tzu, Senior brother, the opportunity for enlightenment lies in the mortals under your feet. Establishing a religion and educating the human race is an opportunity for enlightenment. Let's go. Tongtian Daoist flicked his sleeves, and the clouds headed towards the East China Sea. Taran, Ljiao. When Lao Tzu heard the words of the Taoist of Tongtian, he suddenly realized. Everything suddenly became clear. What did he vaguely understand? A sense rose in his heart, and Lao Tzu went directly in the direction of Shaoyang Mountain. Receiving the Daoist and the quasi-Taidao people, Lao Tzu went away, and he couldn't wait to fall towards the Taran tribe at his feet. They were quick and returned. Anger is not at all bird there said. Lao Tzu flew all the way to Shaoyang Mountain. He sensed that his time for preaching was near. The secret realm of Shaoyang Mountain has just been opened, and the fairy aura is full of immortality. Lao Tzu was promoted and stepped into Shaoyang Mountain. This is, he looked at the secret realm full of messes, poof, and spit out a mouthful of blood. Poor Dao induction is right. Someone robbed me of my chance. Lao Tzu gritted his teeth and trembled with anger. In the end, he finally calmed down his anger and turned around and went to the bottom of Shaoyang Mountain. Lao Tzu's preaching soon ran into trouble. The ancestor of Kongtong said that this kind of avenue of yours is an evil way. It's a different way. Lao Tzu's heart attack is about to give these people angry out. There was a gleam in his eyes, and he wanted to destroy these people. However, thinking that it was a matter of the great Dao, he had to deal with it carefully. Lao Tzu simply cut out his good corpse clone, stayed in the human race, and painstakingly studied the ideas of the human race. 100 years later. Ancestor Kongtong, are you robbing me of my chance? An existence called Kongtong ancestor has been passed down by word of mouth in the human race. He taught the life of the human race, taught the human language, practiced the Qi method, and called the human race, the way of survival. Lao Tzu originally planned to use some Taoism to perfunctory the human race. However, the Terrans do not enter the oil and salt. He had to be seriously educated, but he was almost half angry to death. No wonder Tongtian is so easy to educate, these people are clearly aliens from the sect. Lao Tzu was huffing and continued to add benefits. Finally, he met a human with strong roots and was willing to worship her. Today I will influence the human race and set up a human religion. May this merit be sanctified. As soon as Lao Tzu's words fell, countless merits poured out of his body, and at the same time, the auspicious clouds of merits gathered. He looked up at the sky and sensed the connection between the heavenly Dao and him. Today, I fuse the three corpses and become holy. Lao Tzu separated a trace of the primordial spirit and fell on the heavenly way, and the heavenly way left the mark of Lao Tzu and descended the saint personality. In an instant, he realized the true heart of all beings in a radius of hundreds of millions of miles. Sanctification. I should use Taiji to suppress people and teach luck. The luck gathered, the ups and downs. Lao Tzu used the Taiji diagram to suppress the luck of the people, and the luck finally became calm. After Lao Tzu became sanctified, he only felt empty. He was sanctified and was the fourth heaven of a saint. He always felt that it shouldn't be like this. At this time, Honghuang in Zixiao Palace also opened his eyes and sensed that his eldest disciple had preached differently from his calculations. No, what about Kongtong Yin? Why is it too clear? Don't use the Kongtong seal to suppress the luck of the human race. Is there a change in this world? Hongzheng's anger burned the entire Zixiao Palace. Shocked his Dao boy and Jade girl, trembling. Lao Tzu is the most important part of Hongzheng's suppression of the human race, and the Kongtong seal is the key prop of Lao Tzu. If lost, Hongzheng's plan will definitely be ruined. Who is it, who intercepted the old man's chance? And at this time, the Chaos Palace. Lu Gui heard Lao Tzu's preaching and smiled slightly. He can imagine Lao Tzu's angry appearance after not seeing Kong Tong Yin. Kong Tong Dao people are by his side. Among the three Qings, it is said that Yuan Shi pretends to be high, but in fact, Lao Tzu is the proudest one. It is precisely because of this that Hung Jun saw the indifference in his heart, so he would let him carry out the matter of controlling the human race and cutting off the luck of the human race. Looking at benevolence, in fact, he is ruthless. Dai robbed him of most of his merits this time, he hates you to death. Lu Gui said to Kong Tong Daoren with a smile. Kong Tong Daoren smiled and said nothing, and at this time, the sound of the earth and the sky came again. Ushers, quasi-tipsters. Sanctification.